so the guy we have now, right? He's a pretty popular YouTuber. He did an impression of us. It was cute, right? Let's go to Steven Crowder. We're glad to have you there.
Wait, I'm sorry. I have you on for a sound check now. Steven, I think he'll be back in like 5 minutes.
Okay, we're live, right? Okay, there's no sound check. Of course there's no sound check.
Yeah, you have.
Okay.
Bring those down.
Of course we're live. You know, Jared, come on. Okay, so come on. Where's Crowder?
I'm sorry. I have you down as a sound check. I think he'll be here.
Okay, see, this is what you do, right? Oh, we're gonna have a guest, but we're not. Where's the guest? Okay, Jared, where's the guest? Where's the guest?
Yes.
Where's the guest? Where's the guest?
Where's the guest?
Where's the guest?
Where's the guest?
Where's the guest?
He's asking you a question.
Where's the guest? Where's the guest? That's bullshit. Where's the guest? Where's the guest?
He should be here. He should be here in a second.
Where's the guest? You told us that 4 hours ago.
Yeah, 4 hours.
That's bullshit.
That's more than 3.
Where's the guest?
That was literally like I think 30 seconds ago.
Where's the guest? 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 Where's the guest?
He's like the Armenian genocide, Jake. He's non-existent.
Where's it? Okay, what'd you say?
I said he'll be here soon.
That's right, nothing.
Didn't sound like nothing, you not gay, low hemoglobin.
That's just the white balance. And a little hemoglobin.
Okay, hemoglobin. Of course it's gonna excuse it as hemoglobin. Where's the guest? This is what you do. You say you're gonna have a guest, and you show up, and then you us even harder. Where's the guest?
Chink, you're getting upset.
Where's
You
the
need your
guest?
energy, okay?
Time
for a duck fat break.
Is it not bacon grease?
No bacon grease today. It's time for a duck fat. You need balance. Duck fat. Num duck fat. Oh, it does the body good. It does the body good. Duck fat. Oh.
No more duck fat. It's good duck fat.
Let's take a bad turn quickly.
Okay, look, I don't want to get mad, right? So it'll take 5 minutes. We'll calm down. We'll come back.
Is Anna shaving?
You said we had 5 minutes. We were supposed to be on a break. You're invading my privacy, you I hate you. I hate you. I hate you so much. I hate you so much.
What'd I do?
You make me want to
That's bullshit.
stop saying.
That's bullshit. What you're doing is bullshit.
I want to say. I hate you so f***ing much.
That's bullshit.
I can't. I hate you so f***ing much.
You found yourself at the junction where worlds meet. Politics.
Civility? How about honesty in this country, folks?
Entertainment.
I don't like entertainment.
And a whole bunch of other stuff.
It's about having a healthy body image. You have a very unhealthy body. You should have a horrible body image.
Not a big home improvement market in Detroit.
We are definitely going to get letters.
You're listening to Talk Radio's Strangest Animal.
You're a strange animal, that's what I know.
You're getting louder with Crowder.
But you're a strange animal, I got to follow. Oh, I'm in the spiritus.
Glad to be with you. That's the sound of the weekend. People were asking me before. Let me get my mic here adjusted. I'm your host, Steven Crowder. Louderwithcrowder.com for all references and materials. Producing with me in video studio, as always, is Jared, who is not gay. Follow him on Twitter at NotGayJared. I fulfilled my legal obligations, and you can draw your own conclusions.
References are so old school, by the way. We make this stuff up.
We make this stuff up on the fly. Stop. That's a horrible. We got a big show, a huge show. Young Turks, obviously.
Show.
So we have a big debate with Sally Kohn.
Yep.
I know people are going to get mad. I actually have a lot of respect for Sally. She's willing to get into conversations with voices of opposition. Sally Kohn, Andrew Klavan talking about Hillary Clinton, and Anthony Cumia probably talking about Hillary Clinton as well later on. And we also have Hillary Clinton.
Herself. That's a get.
That's a big get. That's what you call a big catch.
It is, and I'm surprised,
You need some heavy-duty fishing line. Deep sea, you need like a shark chair.
Yes.
But we reeled in Hillary Clinton. We caught her. She's going to be in the second hour, or for those listening to the podcast on YouTube, somewhere in the hour and a half mark. And Bob Ross joins us again to teach you how to draw Hillary Clinton.
Wow.
Because I'm wondering, what should we start off with, Hillary Clinton or the Tyree King?
Tyree King thing is blowing up the old Twitters.
Okay, so we'll get into Hillary Clinton because there's a lot that's happened this week. The DNC leaks. Hillary Clinton is now statistically tied with Donald Trump. That is insanity. Not really. Anything can happen. It's still anybody's game, but they're probably hitting panic button or just stabbing each other with a diazepam pen. Who knows what their panic button equivalent is. Tyree King was trending today. This is another one in the Black Lives Matter. #1 trend all over the place. Listen, you hear this at first glance, and it sounds terrible. 13-year-old kid shot by police officer. You're going, oh, no. But that's not what happened. So it's all over Twitter. Let me tell you something here. Beyond, with a situation like this, well, okay. We don't have any video with Tyree King, do we?
No, we should have this. I have an image.
We have some images. Let me give you some context. So it sounds horrible. 13-year-old shot by police officers. Until you realize that the officer was approaching him because he was fingered from someone at 2 a.m., armed robbery with a firearm. Police officer approached him and some friends. His other friends ran. Then this boy also ran into an alley, and he pulled out, when apprehended by the police officers, pulled his BB gun that looks like a real gun from his waistband. Just so there's no confusion, beyond the obvious that it's always sad when there's a loss of human life to some degree, beyond that, I've reached a point where I have no sympathy left to give. Committing a violent crime and pulling a gun out, or whatever looks exactly like a gun, on an officer at 2 a.m., your age is irrelevant, your race is irrelevant, you're rolling the dice, and you lost that one. Let's bring up the image here. This is the police officer. Okay, so there's the 13-year-old kid. There's the firearm. You know what I noticed right away when I saw that firearm? That's the BB gun. For those listening terrestrially, it looks exactly like a real gun. Proof? Here you go. Here is I love this firearm, by the way, Walther PPQ. Jared, can we do a split screen with me in that or no? Probably not.
No, I can't.
All right, there you go. You can't know. You can't know at 2 a.m. You cannot know at 2 a.m. that that's not a real firearm. So this idea that cops are shooting kids for squirt guns, it's silly and it's irrelevant. The cop thought that it was an actual firearm. And this idea came out that, well, they wouldn't do this with a white kid. Right. Because I know that when I was a kid and I committed violent assault, when I robbed people, when I committed armed robbery, and when I pulled my BB gun out on police officers, I said, thank God for white supremacy.
Yes. Covers your butt again.
Were you not taught as a kid, don't even aim a Nerf gun at a police officer?
Yeah, but before that was don't commit armed robberies at 2 a.m.
That was a big one.
You go at lunchtime.
Right.
You go at lunchtime.
You have to pick your spots.
Yeah.
So this idea right away is Black Lives Matter. They could have shot him with a beanbag gun, right? They're going to walk it. Maybe they could. You know what? Let's just arm police officers with T-shirt cannons like you see at baseball games. Just, hey, what are those, the Crips? Hope you want a Cancun Booze Cruise T-shirt.
I have yet to win one of those.
A T-shirt?
In my whole life.
T-shirt cannon?
Yeah.
I think someone died once. They had to tone down the power.
Oh, really? Oh.
People in beanbag guns. Shoot the kid in the leg.
Well, then those are lethal too.
Well, here's how these things get completely conflated, right? Why don't you shoot the kid in the leg? It wasn't a violent threat. That officer thinks that's a real gun.
He has to.
He thinks it's about. Of course,
you
he
have
has
to assume it is.
It's the most absurd story, and Kohn Gaines, this is a great example. When Black Lives Matter trot these out, they're almost always false. Now let's assume that the police reports are somewhat accurate. Right away, what do they say? If you look at the tweets, we covered this on the website. Oh, you're supposed to believe the neo-Nazi KKK police. When you say this is why we're seeing record violence against the police officers. When you hold this out and you have to Sean King the narrative with 13-year-old innocent kid just has a cap gun and gets shot by police officer for no reason. Listen, you think those officers are monsters, and so you make it okay to treat them like monsters. This is what you have. We don't have any more on that, do we? On as far as the images.
No, we have Tamir. Because people compare
right
Tamir
away,
Rice.
So right away, people going, well, this is like Sean King. This is just like Tamir Rice, a kid who was shot for playing in a playground. Anyone who have you seen the Tamir Rice video? Here, we'll roll it for you. This is the Tamir Rice video. That's him aiming what looks like a real gun at passersby in the park. So even there, in a hoodie, you can't. Tamir Rice is a golden example they point to. He wasn't asked. Did he deserve to die? No. Is it unfortunate? Yeah. Is it something that was entirely preventable? Absolutely. this is going to happen. It's going to happen more and more, especially as it goes into election. You're going to hear more stories of sexism. We have a video on that from, what's her name? Veronica Mars. Kristen Bell later, where we're going to have to go back to dispelling the pay gap myth.
Again.
You're going to see more of these leading up to election because this is what Democrats need. Oh, DNC leaks happen. Better ask Pence about David Duke. Hillary Clinton had an epileptic seizure. Better, let's put out a story of a kid being shot by officers. Let's get the
Robert
attention.
Byrd. Let's just get him out of here.
Let's just shuffle Robert Byrd out of here. It is. You're going to see more of these stories of racism, of sexism, stories that basically create that narrative or at least support it. You're going to see far, far more of that. So we covered on the website. It's not what it's not what it seems at first pass. That's what matters with the Tyree. What's his name?
Tyree King. Tyree.
It's also a silly name.
It's a silly name.
There's no reason. There's no meaning to it.
No.
I don't know what it is with black Americans. Like, if you want to go with your African hair, just pick a name. Or pick a name that means something in English.
My slightly racist grandfather always said they just take a categories dice.
Oh, God.
Just see what
You're
happens.
a horrible human being.
Maybe
So
he
this
was.
happened before this show. Of course, everyone knows about and we'll be talking about this. We're going to have Hillary Clinton on to discuss her health later because this is the famous clip from this week. It happened quite a while ago in the week. Jared, you can just roll the clip. There's no sound there. Here you go. You can see Hillary Clinton, and there you go. She's bracing her fat, immobile hips against that thing there, and she's just okay. All right. Just so you know, we never covered. This is important for people listening right now. This is pulling back the curtain. We never covered the conspiratorial Hillary health issues. Right, we never really got into it when people saying, "Oh, she clearly has Parkinson's," because it's not something that we know. Right, it's not something that can be verified. This we did cover. We were first to cover it when it happened Sunday morning. We got to it really early because there's something going on here. Okay, and they lied about it. That's what matters. Now, I will tell you this. Be leery when you read about Hillary health stories, because when we ran this story, it did about 4 times the clicks of any other story from that week. So Hillary health conspiracies are like catnip for clicks. And so you see a lot of conservative, a lot of right-wing sites trying to make more money off of it, and they push it when it's not true. This is the only one we actively covered. So it's important to be truthful with it. And that's why this one is such a story. They said she had pneumonia. Here's the deal. They lied about it. They lied about Hillary's health. And you see it, by the way, pneumonia with this, it doesn't look, I've known plenty of people with pneumonia. I've had bronchitis. It doesn't look like that. They lied about it. They could have just done a Friday, hey, Hillary Clinton was diagnosed with pneumonia. She's going to be out of the campaign for the weekend. She needs some rest. Instead, they were saying, oh, these right-wing conspiracy theorists. Hillary is in perfect health. She's the picture of health. Go ahead, wave, Hillary, with your...
Never mind her doing the Carlton dance.
Never mind her doing the Carlton dance. And then this happened. So why it matters now is could it be that she has pneumonia? Yes, of course. That's probably the most likely scenario. However, could it also be that her campaign lied proactively? Because that's just what they do. That's Tuesday. That's Friday. That's any day. All days are lying days with the Hillary Clinton campaign, so they just lied because they didn't know what else to do? Yeah. So it's very likely she has something like pneumonia. I think there's something more going on here if you watch that video, and of course her campaign is lying about it.
We talk about Islam. Lying is bad enough. That's bad enough.
That's bad enough.
That's bad enough.
Yeah. You don't need to do the body double conspiracies, and you don't. Republicans can snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Where it's
Just like the
listen,
Cleveland Browns.
Yes.
Every day.
They lied about this. Let's go with that. Well, and also she's a lizard person. Damn it. Okay.
Damn it.
But this all comes back to something.
Plausible.
Hillary Clinton, I have this up on my screen, is now in a statistical tie with Donald Trump. The lead she has narrowed greatly. She's still ahead by the RCP average, particularly in a head-to-head with a 4-person race. It's a tie. Well, this also comes in the heels of the DNC leaks. I have this up here. We'll get into that more after the break. And Americans' trust in mass media has sunken to a new low, all-time low, according to Gallup. So all of this happens at the same time. Hillary is now in a tie, the DNC leaks, the health issues. Listen, there have been leaks going on for a long time. There have been a lot of people asking questions regarding her health. Dr. Drew was fired for asking questions about Hillary Clinton's health. And now it comes out it's true. DNC leaks. Now it comes out that there's been collusion, corruption beyond the scope of what we even thought, and Hillary is in a statistical tie. So it's not just the fact that she's sick. It's not just the fact that the race is narrowing. It is a reflection of what people are thinking regarding Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party. And I think that's pretty significant. So we'll get into DNC leaks and a little economics after this. That's always fun.
Brainy.
Fun economics. And now for the adventures of the white privilege boy. Hey, buddies, what do you want to do today? You want to go down to the arcade and play pinball?
No.
I know. How about we play hide and seek?
We did that last week.
I know. Want to take our accurate to replica BB guns and commit an armed robbery?
Yeah, that sounds fun. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Yeah. Oh, those boys. What pickle will they find themselves in next? Stay tuned for next week's installment of Adventures of the White Privilege Boys. Hey, Jared, what are you doing?
Shooting bad guys.
With what?
By AR-15.
Where'd you get it?
AR-15.com.
Enunciate it more clearly so our audience can hear.
AR-15.com.
That's better. They sell guns now?
Yeah, they do.
Are they any good?
They're the best.
Where from?
AR-15.com. Kapoo. Kapish.
You really make that sound?
Didn't have the budget for sound effects. Kapoo. Kapow.
Oh, there's another one.
Kapow.
You got him. With what?
By AR-15.
From where?
AR-15.com.
Hey, how do you know they're bad guys?
Turbans and burkas. Kapoo.
That's racist. Glad to be back. Have Sally Kohn coming up here at the end of this segment. So DNC leaks came out, and boy, was that buried quickly. Boy, was that buried quickly from social media. What do we know about DNC leaks? I have this up on the screen. We know that there have been mammoth donations to the DNC from, hey, surprise, any sector of the government, whether it's the post office, any sector that involves public sector unions, all of them give massively to Democrats. Not only that, do they give massively to Democrats, but we've found out that Democrats were providing favors and positions on boards for these people. So for a good example, any folks who you'd like to be considered to be on the board of, for example, USPS, NEA, NEH, basically anyone who has a niche interest and might like to serve on one of these organizations. This is, of course, being delivered to donors there. So we've always known that the Democrats were corrupt. This is just a whole new level of it. And this is one thing that I've talked about. Science, research, basically any information with which you're provided from the government, of course, can be manipulated. Here's something that's funny. When people say, oh, big oil, big companies, there is nothing that can create the kind of corruption and collusion that the government can. Look at Wall Street. That's government. That's not just Wall. That cannot exist without government, because banks that are too big to fail, guess what? They fail. Too big to fail is a government problem, not a bank problem. So, by the way, the top political donors, the donating political class, it's unions. Big unions, particularly big public sector unions. So when people say, oh, you're just providing research, let's say, I don't know, against climate change because of big oil. Well, there are billions in unpaid tax liabilities from green companies. And scientists have billions of dollars in research. Now, these are scientists who work for the government. So not only are they incentivized, like people who maybe work for private business, they are beholden. They are required to find a reason for the DNC to be in power and bigger government. Otherwise, those grants stop. When people act like this gravy train is coming from these private companies and our debt just hit $19.5 trillion. $19.5 trillion. Just a few $1 billion in tax liabilities with green companies that have been unpaid to Obama. Solyndra was $500 million. Can you imagine if there were one private company that had $500 million of taxpayer money that they wouldn't give back? One company with billions. It would be, this company that the Koch brothers, what, are worth a few billion? People get mad about they're worth $3 billion. The government is $19.5 trillion, and a lot of that money goes to coaxing people. Not to mention we're talking about the post office here. They're bankrupt.
Yeah.
And they're giving millions,
You know,
billions.
could use some
probably.
funding. I think this needs a little funding.
What does? Oh my God! It's too early in the program for that. Not get Jared put up an
can't see
image
that.
of Lena Dunham in a bikini. Anyway, that's a brief lesson in economics. Something else. How much time do we have? We have 5 minutes.
We got 4.5.
4.5. This is important. So people talk about their fair share. You know, we might want to take more. Yeah, okay, we'll talk about this. The top fifth of earners in the United States, when people talk about their fair share, I have this up on here, have increased their income from 43% in 1979 to 48% in 2010. The top 1% have increased their share from 1979 from 8% to 13%. So when people say you're not getting your fair share, that's what they're talking about. Here's the deal. Everyone is doing far better. So a lot of people don't understand this. Inequality is not the main issue if everyone is doing better. If some people are doing far better, let me give you an example. Louder with Credit didn't exist 2 years ago. I told Jared, he was pushing a salt truck. I said, hey, Jared, this is what I can pay you. It's not a lot, but as we grow, I promise you I'll pay you more. Now we have 5 employees, and Jared gets a far smaller share of a much bigger pie. So let me give you an example. What would you rather have here? Here's Jared before. Louder with Credit 2 years ago. I'm giving you some visual aids here. He had at least
Don't
half
give me AIDS.
of the full
That's
pie.
the
I
need.
took no salary, as Jared knows, and the rest went into marketing and growth and serving costs, okay? So Jared had half of that pie. That's more fair. Well, here's the new pie with many more employees. Forgive the oblong pie. Now Jared has this share of the pie. So if your worldview is just, well, there's one piece of pie and you need your fair share, well, guess what? That first pie is better because Jared has half. He only has a quarter of this new pie, even though the quarter is double, you can see, the size of the very first pie. And this is why it matters. So this is why this matters, because, yeah, every situation needs to be taken individually. You need to look at issues critically. And there is nuance. But isms matter. When people think that they're above it, go, well, I'm not a conservative, I'm not a liberal, I don't believe in isms. No. The ism is the prism through which you will see the world. And if you believe in liberalism or leftism, you would look at Jared's situation. Let's say he's making $1,000 a month. You would look at that at 50% and say, well, here's the pie, that's his share, that's fair. Whereas conservatism says, well, hold on, we want to increase this pie so that he can make $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month, whatever it is. Even though he'll be making a smaller slice of the overall pie, that pie from thousands goes to millions. Now, the ism is, do you see the economy as a fixed pie, as a fixed size, and everyone is getting their piece? Ironically enough, socialism, that leftist view, is very selfish. It's very hopeless, right? And it also creates an entitlement mindset, because if you think there's only so much to go around, I better get my slice. Or the ism, conservatism, federalism, do you see the economy, do you see the world as a living, breathing, growing ecosystem that thrives with innovation, with creativity, with hard work? If you see it that way, you're not so worried about, well, I need my percentage, period. I need to get mine. You're thinking, man, how can I grow this piece of pie? How can I grow this pie for everybody? Well, enough, all of a sudden you're looking out for the best interest of everybody. The bigger the pie for everybody else, the better you do. Whereas in socialism, leftism, you just want your piece. You're not thinking, you can't even have brain storage for this idea that you could possibly grow it. And that's what's so important. And that's what the Bernie people don't get. And that's what young leftists don't get. Get yours, get your piece. No, go out there and create more pies. If you look at the GDP, if you look at how much bigger the economy is, it's unbelievable. Who cares if you have a percentage that's fair? If you're making 10 times as much, if you're helping 10 times as many people, that's why the ism matters. It doesn't mean that you should be dogmatic. I hate any kind of dogmatic thinking, but you do have to have a baseline filter through which you run issues in the world. If you're just looking at everything going, well, okay, I guess that seems fair. Well, why is not Jared only getting 20? Why is he only getting 10% if he was getting 15%? Well, what would you rather have? Would you rather have 50% of $10,000, or would you rather have 10% of $1 million? I'm using extreme numbers to make a point. But that's how companies grow. That's how economies grow. And the ism is important. The first filter it goes through needs to be, okay, how do I view the world? And that'll change everything. Also, there's one that's in line with actual economics. Sally Kohn, after this, speaking of debate, that'll be fun. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Now it's time to play America's favorite game show, Spot the Firearm. The rules are simple. One of these images is a real firearm. The other is a BB gun replica. You have precisely 5 seconds to guess which one is real. Are you ready? Let's go. And your partner's dead.
All right, glad to be back. Glad to have this next guest. I know everyone's going to say, whoa, you're just trying to do it to be polite. No, I've known her for a while. We were at Fox News at the same time. We disagree on nearly everything, but she's a gamer. She stands in the pocket and she trades. You can follow her on Twitter. She's a CNN contributor at Sally Kohn, Kohn. Thank you for being here.
Hey, totally thrilled to be here. I think we probably actually, in truth, agree on more than we disagree. We just disagree on the political things everybody fights about.
Well, I think...
But, you know... Coke versus Pepsi, right? What do you think?
I don't drink either, but my wife swears that Pepsi is an invention of Satan.
Oh, well, never mind.
Oh, really? You like Pepsi?
Well, actually, that's not true. I really prefer Coke, but my in-laws' family, they're all big Pepsi people, so I have to say publicly Pepsi.
Okay, before we get into politics.
Example, but you know what I mean? Like...
Before we get into politics, this is a perfect example of little young skeptical...
Which Kardashian?
Yes, no, little young skeptical Steven was, remember they did the Pepsi challenge? That was their marketing ploy?
Oh. Because we're the same age, so yeah.
So I was on Grand Bend, Ontario. I wasn't even a teenager, and they did this down there in the beach. And I go, oh, so here's which one do you prefer? And I just look at them, and I go, I prefer the one that you iced first. They go, what? I go, one of them was warm, one of them was cold. Let me guess, the iced one was Pepsi? And they're like, okay, move it along, kid. And
and we know we could have predicted right then.
Exactly.
Man, I'm so old. I remember actually like at sleepovers doing the Coke Pepsi challenge like for fun with friends. I mean, you know, this is before the internet, kids.
Yes.
We didn't have anything to do.
And then one of them just don't play with Bill Cosby. That's the general rule of thumb. The Coke or Pepsi challenge. And people are gonna get mad. Was that a rape joke? It's a Bill Cosby drugs people joke. So yes. Okay, we have to talk about a few things. So we wanted to have you on for a while. Yes. Obviously, I have been very much at the forefront, coming from Quebec, coming from a school with a lot of Muslims, against Islam, the theology, the philosophy, period, on the internet. Yes, not all Muslims, Islam. Just like atheists are against... No, not all Muslims, but particularly Muhammad. Now, you wrote a piece, and I want to make sure that I don't misrepresent you, so I want you to say it in your own words. You wrote a piece...
I'm still already confused, but go ahead.
You wrote a piece on Sharia law. You get a lot of backlash saying that Donald Trump is misrepresenting a lot of Muslims, that there are a lot of progressives who support Sharia law. There are progressive versions of Sharia law. Am I getting that wrong?
Hang on. No, so let's back up.
Okay.
Because, you know, I do think words matter, right? So Sharia, the concept of Sharia, right? And by the way, let's just start right here, and people are going to be like, well, why are you talking about this? Well, because I do think it's our job to, you know, educate ourselves and learn as much as we can. And my understanding on this has evolved. As a, you know, liberal Jew, I didn't grow up knowing much about Islam,
right?
And have tried to learn. And so Sharia as a concept is about faith, is about beliefs. It's the whole spiritual code of Islam. There is no, and it includes everything from giving to charity to praying, you know, 3 times a day to, you know, not eating certain things to this and that and the other. By the way, there's no one version of Islamic beliefs or what it means to be a good Muslim written down. There's not just one single version of it. There's all different kinds of arguments and interpretations. That's number one. That's what.
Well, hold on, a couple of things. There aren't a number. There are 4 schools of Sharia law. There are about 4 and 2 main ones. So let's
But yeah, wait. But that's my first point. My only point is whether we can get into like, okay, now there's this, you know, version of Sharia and there's this version of Sharia. We get into, but the simple point is, and I cite the example in the article that my progressive, feminist, lesbian, Muslim friend.
So a secular Muslim.
Believes in Sharia. Yeah, but she believes in Sharia.
So a secular Muslim.
She wears a hijab. She observes Ramadan. She believes in Sharia, in a version of Sharia. And so the only point there is when, you know, folks on the right say, well, we should ban all Muslims who believe in quote unquote Sharia. Well, I mean, depending on how you define your terms,
Right.
you can't do that. All Muslims believe in Sharia.
Well, hold on a second. So I agree with you. Words matter. So we're talking about Sharia law. That's what we're talking about. Now, you can talk about Sharia and talk about how it, some people misconstrue it as a personal path, but there are two things we need to get into. The pragmatic, and we'll get into that, into countries that implement any kind of Sharia law, and then the philosophical. But to say that Sharia has historically been interpreted as, like people try to say with Islam, it means submission, it's about a personal struggle, or jihad. No, jihad has very clearly been interpreted as a very physical war, whether some people talk about an internal struggle jihad. And Sharia law is something where we have enough legal precedent. You can look to any country in the world right now. Any country that implements Sharia law. And you can even look to countries you can even look to the UK, you can look to Europe, where anywhere it's implemented, it has been a net negative. Universally for human rights. Would we agree on that?
So yeah. Look, I mean, let's be super clear on something here. I am against any version, iteration, incarnation, moral, legal, conceptual, theological of Islam that calls for the oppression of women, the condemnation of gay people, and the putting of one faith over another. I mean, all. By the way, I'm against fundamentalism
and that's all Islam.
in general.
That's all Islam.
What? But then how? Okay, so
that is all Islam. Doesn't mean all of them are throwing gays off roof. Doesn't mean they're all. Hold on a second. Doesn't mean they're all beating their wives. But by your own standards, that you apply to Christians, that is all Islam. As far as women are not treated well, gay people are not treated well. Even the most modern interpretations of Sharia law are gross violations of human rights.
Wait a second. Okay, so let's for a second put Sharia law as a concept. And again, by the way, you want to go down the wormhole in this, there are whole debates about, because again, there's no, you can't go find the Sharia law book, right?
Yes,
it's not like a constitution. No,
yes, you can. You have the Hanbali school of thought and you have the Maliki school of thought. So you can look at the worst, like the Hanbali, where you look at Saudi Arabia, look at a lot of these Gulf states, and even other countries. No, hold on, this really matters. There's consistent application everywhere. Everywhere Sharia law is implemented.
The next person you should have on your show
there is a book on it,
a man named Abdullahi Al-Naim, who's the foremost scholar on the practice and implementation of Sharia law around the world.
Sure.
And if you talk to him, he'll say, look, there's 50 different versions of it, because even the school that says, we're practicing this version, well, they leave out
hold on
this
a second,
piece.
but this is what matters. It matters when you look anywhere there is Islamic. No, hold on, this matters. It matters anywhere you look that there is Islamic government. Okay, anywhere that you look that there is Islamic government based on Sharia, anywhere in the world, can we at least? It's bad. It's something that we should not even remotely accept in the United States. Okay, so let me hold on. This is important. Now, are you also aware that every single mosque can act as a Sharia court? Because you've written about this in your column. They can't have a mosque exist if there isn't an imam who's there who is capable of performing Sharia law.
Here's the issue I'm having. Okay?
Well, hold on, but that's important.
I understand where you're going. Here's the issue I'm having. I have no problem agreeing with you strongly that the implementation of any version of a right-wing, totalitarian, misogynistic, homophobic, frankly,
there's nothing right-wing about totalitarian Islamic regimes. Nothing.
Okay, whatever words we want to use, I'm against it. Okay.
Okay, but we both know it's not. There's nothing right-wing about ISIS or Turkey or Egypt or Malaysia or Morocco. Any of those moderate places, nothing right-wing about them. Very far left in their application of government and overbearing government.
That's fascinating. Okay, I would call them fundamentalists. So I would call them, if you want to call them modern versus traditionalist, you want to go in that direction.
I want to make it clear. So Sally Kohn agrees with me.
I tend to think of as regressive. I connote with a more conservative ideology, but whatever.
So you agree with me that every single Islamic country in the world has a regressive fundamentalist system of law? Name me one that doesn't.
Listen.
One that doesn't. One example. This is important. If you're going to talk about Sharia, one country that has a Sharia law example that you would be okay with.
Wait, hang on. You're doing this thing. Can we just stick with one thing at a time? Can we just do that for me? Because my brain isn't as big as yours. So give me a second.
Don't do that. Here, one thing real quick before you do that. You've waded into an audience who's much more intelligent than the average cable news viewer. So you doing a little wordplay is not going to work, especially if they have a rewind button. You're very smart.
I am happy, right? And again, bearing in mind, I'm not the expert on Islamic theology, nor Islamic states, nor, frankly, being a Muslim, because I'm not one, right?
Right, so but you wrote about it.
Here's where I'm stuck. We can go then talk about the difference between Tunisia and Morocco and, Indonesia as opposed to Saudi Arabia, which I think is a horrible state that the United States should never be supporting. And we can talk about the nuances in between. Happy to do that. I'm still confused, though, as to how you can't say, okay, the problem is fundamentalist Islam, extremist Islam, that's a problem. And you get from there to all Islam, all Muslims.
Yeah.
Stephen, what do you do about my friend who I described to you, who is a progressive, feminist, gay Muslim,
Can I answer
who is
your
the
question?
kind of Muslim we should support?
Can I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not nearly as concerned with a radical outlier in a feminist lesbian Muslim girl who wears a hijab. I am concerned with every place in the history of the world Sharia law hasn't implemented, where it exists today, what's happening in Europe, and what's happening in mosques across the United States. This is not radicalism. This is not fundamentalism. You wrote in your piece, I want to bring up your own words here because it's important. You wrote that they can have their own courts in their mosques, provided it doesn't supersede the Constitution. It is incompatible with our current system of rights in the United States. Do you know what happens in a Sharia court?
I didn't actually write that, by the way, but okay, go on.
Well, you wrote that like Jewish law, or different Christian courts. You wrote about they settle disputes, domestic disputes.
I didn't
I have this piece right up here from CNN.
Okay. No,
Okay.
I'm reading it too. I've got it in front of me too.
Okay, so you would be against it then.
What
You
you're
would be
referring
for deporting
Hang on.
or
Hang
ban.
on.
Hold on a second, because I've got it right here in front of me. This is really important. This is important. It is not fundamentalism where this occurs at every single mosque across the country. Is it fundamentalism that Muhammad beat his wife, their founder? Is it fundamentalism that he called for the deaths of Christians and Jews? Is that fundamentalism? Because that's my problem. Right back with Muhammad.
So, Stephen, there are fundamentalists. I'm Jewish. I live in New York City. There are fundamentalist, whatever word we want to use, fundamentalists, more conservative, small c conservative, conventional, traditionalist Jews in New York City and around the United States who believe that I am a sinner, who would like to see, legal, if not physical, punishment imposed on me for being gay. I am against that. I am offended by that. I am any number of things about that. Don't want to see him deported.
That's not mainstream Judaism, and it's a difference between curly sideburns and bombs.
Here's my confusion, which is, first of all, I can agree with you that there needs to be a broader reformation in Islam, and by the way, that's why we should be supporting
hundreds of millions of Muslims who support apostasy laws, who support spousal abuse laws.
And second of all, but the reason you get those arguments, you get those conclusions from assuming that they mean by Sharia what you mean by Sharia, which was the
no. Hold on a second. This matters. This matters. Sally, you're hold on. You're jumping all around on individual issues. These Muslims say, yes, I should support Sharia, and then in addendum, hundreds of millions of Muslims say, I support apostasy laws. I support anti-homosexuality laws. Hundreds of millions of Muslims. So hold on a second. Would it stand to reason that if hundreds of millions of Muslims, a majority of Muslims support Sharia in some fashion or another, and then hundreds of millions of Muslims say, we support apostasy laws, we support spousal abuse laws, would it stand to reason that maybe that would be, A, not radical, and B, directly tied to their support for Sharia? Hundreds of millions, undeniable, support these individual laws.
1.6 billion. My only concern is Stephen.
So 900 million.
Stephen. Okay, so first of all, if we want to actually pull out the Pew poll data that you're talking about and go line by line and refute some of that, first of all, that's fine. But again,
you brought up Jews or Christians. There aren't hundreds of millions of Jews who support this.
If there are tens of millions of Muslims in this country. If they are all, as what you just said is true, if the notion that they are all peaceful, that they are majority peaceful, peace-loving, moderate human beings, if that's an aberration, which is what you said, why isn't there terrorism all around us? Why am I still here? Oh my gosh, I've walked down the street day to day at least 10 times and no one's killed me. And there's like...
well, a couple things. It does happen all the time, and I think you have a lowered bar for them because you have a much higher standard of Christians, which you would consider a violation of rights, and Muslims would be far worse. But I want to keep you on. We have to go to this break for a corporate overlord, Sally Kohn. We appreciate her standing in the pocket and coming on. We'll be right back. We'll be right back.
Okay, so this next segment, we're excited, right? For the guest, he's a longtime fan of the show.
Who is it?
Member of the Wolf Pack.
Who is it?
Okay, Sargon of Akkad, are you there?
I wouldn't so much say a fan. I mean, maybe I used to be, but then you kind of declared kind of everything was racist. And then I was looking back and you were saying like everything was racist back then as well. And I'm thinking, why did I ever watch you guys?
Okay, right? This is what he's trying to do. He's trying to sandbag where he comes and says, I was a long-time fan, but until you said something racist. Of course, you're always a long-time fan before. That's bullshit! That's bullshit! What if someone's actually racist?
Get off the phone, you bearded fat.
But I've been really trying to diet.
Yeah, well, try harder. I'm better than you.
What's that even mean?
You Brexiting InfoWars.
Right? Go back to InfoWars!
I got turned down by InfoWars.
Okay, right? Why don't you do us a favor? Come on. Why don't you do another bullshit Brexit? That was bullshit! You were bullshit!
Did you have a stroke?
No, it's not official.
See how clever I am with it? Okay, listen, right now we have an image. Okay, of you with a racist sign. Sargon, that's bullshit.
That's not even me. That's clearly a Photoshop. And is that Al Borland?
Maybe, you tool-time looking fat.
Are you body shaming me?
No, it's facial shaming. You don't even fucking know your shame.
Whatever takes the attention off your mustache, sweetheart.
Okay, that's sexist! That's sexist and that's racist! Armenians and lame women have mustaches! That's bullshit!
No, you! Oh my God, seriously, what do you think we can get? What do you think we can all call me, sweetheart? You stupid fascist! I am on the Young Turks. I'm a co-host. Okay, that means I'm a strong woman, and I say a lot. I'm better than you.
Okay, no, that's sexist and racist against Armenians. All the women, they all have mustaches. I know, it's bullshit. You can't control it. That's bullshit. Fuck you with your Brexit bullshit.
You're a strange animal, that's what I know. But you're a strange animal, I got to follow. Oh, I'm in the spirit to see.
Glad to be back. Our guest's camera now is getting all fuzzy, so fix that. Fix that about
sorry.
yourself. At Sally Kohn, CNN contributor. I want to be clear here. This is what I was referencing where you talked about how Sharia law can also mean what it does in England, where Sharia councils in some place hold sway over things such as marriage and divorce for British Muslims, yet those councils are ultimately and rightly subjected to secular laws of the state.
Correct.
However,
I agree. Yes.
that's untrue.
Go again. Sorry.
That is untrue.
Then explain to me the national council that
okay.
the government of England has set up.
75. Hold on, let me explain to you. 75% of Muslim marriages in the UK are actually not legally recognized. A woman in the UK, if they get married in a way that is not legally recognized, this is the vast majority in the UK, in Sharia courts, they have no recourse, they can't initiate divorce, their husband merely needs to say divorce, divorce, divorce.
Stephen,
This is mainstream, Sally.
Listen, hey, and that's why, as I wrote in the piece, I endorse the government of the UK, which, by the way, is doing so with imams and Muslim scholars going in and reviewing the practice of those Sharia courts.
It's been a
make sure that they're
horribly
subject
unsuccessful,
to the
Sally.
Constitution. Well,
Would you argue that the UK is better off right now?
I think it should be subject to the Constitution.
Here's my point, Sally. This is important. This is important. Let me go back to, you said you wanted to get into the nuance.
You're trying to say all Muslims
You said
are
you wanted to get into the nuance of Tunisia, of Malaysia. You said we can do that. So we did your first thing. So I want to get into that. Let me ask you. No, hold on a second. This is really important. Let me do this. Do you believe that it has been better for the UK, or has it been a net loss of civil rights for many women across the UK with the encroachment of Islam and Sharia?
Well, let me just dig into my deep knowledge and experience as a British person. I don't know.
It's far worse.
Let's get them on the
record
phone.
rape, record spousal abuse, record
Let's
terrorism.
Get Mona Siddiqui, the woman who is heading.
But Sally, this isn't fair. Sally, it's you and I talking.
No, but here's what I'm saying, Stephen. In the UK, a Muslim scholar, a Muslim woman, a feminist Muslim woman, is heading the government-led inquiry into Sharia courts to see if they are messed up or not. So you can't blame all Islam, because
and the reason for that would be
women saying, we need to make these courts subject to the Constitution. So there you have.
And the reason for that would be why? Hold on, Sally. Why? Why now do they feel the need to do this?
But you can't blame Islam because you have these Muslim leaders who are trying to.
Yes, you can, and I do entirely blame Islam.
Why not make that about progressive tradition, moving forward in a religion versus regressive norms.
Because they don't want to move forward. You look at Turkey as an example. You look at you look at Malaysia as an example with a record number of churches, right? These are places that I've been there at Fox News when you and leftist progressive held out Turkey for a long time as a great example, a bastion of secular rights in the Islamic world. Malaysia, Indonesia, they've all regressed. It's impossible. Islam has never progressed. And it can't progress because of the founder of the feast, Muhammad, and the Sharia law, regardless of the interpretation that has been created thereof. Let me go back to this point. This is really important. This is pivotal. Is there a single Islamic country in the world where you think that there are equal rights for women, gay people, apostates? One. Because it's important. There needs to be a track record to support what you're saying.
Eight Muslim nations have elected a woman head of state. And last I checked, the United States hasn't.
Okay, well, let me counter that with this. There have been plenty of there have been plenty of gay and transgender people appointed to cabinets who didn't have what you claimed were civil rights with marriage, bathroom rights for a long time.
I'm not disagreeing. You just asked for an example, so I just gave you one.
I didn't ask you that, though. I asked you any place that has any rights that would be considered equal rights, not if they elected a woman.
No, if I'm not mistaken, I had to look this up. The first country that decriminalized homosexuality in the world was actually a Muslim country. Hang on.
Right now, I'm asking if there's any place on earth right now where you would consider them to have progressive, equal rights. The things that you would criticize the Westboro Baptist Church, as you have, a church of 12 members who are inbred, but an entire country. Is there one?
You're
Pick
right.
one.
Now, think of, you win. Hey, by the way, they're also treating gay people pretty badly in Uganda, and that's because of Christianity's influence.
Comparing tribal. No. This is important. It's conflating an issue. It's comparing tribalism to modern, advanced countries that have systematically decided to deny rights in a very violent, theologically based way is not fair.
Oh, I see. So the only way to reconcile Uganda as a discriminatory nation is to just call them backwards and tribal. But
yes,
come on, are you actually?
Yes, it has nothing to do with Christianity. It has nothing to do with Christianity. It has to do with being a third world country. Yes.
Churches.
Is Egypt a third world country? UAE is Qatar? Well, it's not fair. Let's take Uganda compared to modern Muslim countries.
Churches here in the United States and Republican leaders here in the United States, tied to conservative Christian interests, helped push for the criminalization of homosexuality in Uganda. So there was American Christian influence in that. And look, if we want to go back, how long do we have to go back in the United States to look at when Christianity, still, by the way,
Sally, you haven't answered my question.
No, but if your bar here,
one simple.
Stephen,
it's
let
one
me
simple.
Make a sentence out. Can I do that?
No, but you need to answer the question first.
If you say man.
One country, is there one? Can we just say no and then continue?
I said no.
Okay.
I answered you. I said no.
Okay.
And I'm also saying that if your bar, and I love that bar, right? Human rights. Gay rights is an example. I completely support that as a bar for modern progression of rights and justice around the world. Last I checked, first of all, I can't help but be struck, and I love you. I love your not gay shirt. I know you are a supporter of gay rights, but you have to know that your side of the aisle has not historically been the ones going, woohoo, let's get gay rights. Now you're just the ones
comparing.
Hey, shame on those Muslim countries for not.
Yeah, I think comparing a penis cake to throwing them off of rooftops is silly.
You know what? You're right. It's not the same thing, but it's not like you get to wave the big gay flag and be like, hey, we're so progressive and
sure you do.
And by the way,
sure you do. And I'm doing it more than a lesbian liberal.
You're gonna quit. You're gonna keep waving your flag, right? About the Pew polling on Muslims.
No, that's not what I did.
Said that 30% of Trump supporters in Carolina.
No, don't toss me with Trump supporters. Again, it matters because it matters. We have to go to a break. So let me wrap this up, and then we'll do a web extension.
There were not that many people who wanted to, kill people for being gay in this country too. The issue is progress. It's not one religion or another. They all can do better.
Except one hasn't, and it's hundreds of millions of people who refuse to.
And
I wish that you would support consistently support the progressive rights.
Hundreds of millions more who do, man.
Not even a majority. Not even a majority of Muslims would be as tolerant to you in the way you're complaining about Christian conservatives. They would be far less tolerant. Not even a majority of the 1.6 billion Muslims. Okay, Sally Kohn, we'll go to a web extender for people listening. At Sally Kohn on Twitter. Go to louderwithcredit.com where she's uncensored because she has a filthy, dirty mouth. You'll hear it. You will hear it and be appalled. Stay tuned. on now for the adventures of the white privilege boy. Hey there, boys. Good to see you again. What can I do you for? Thanks, Mr. MacArthur. Well, you can start by giving us everything in the cash register. Well, golly, is that a firearm you're pointing at me there? Yeah. You know it. I'm very disappointed in you, boys. We don't care. Empty it out. Yeah, empty it out. Empty it out, man. Oh, I suppose boys will be boys. I'm going to have to call the sheriff, you know, but you've got me for now. Go ahead, take everything. Thanks, Mr. MacArthur. Thanks. Pistol whip him. Oh, all right, now, that's one for you. That's one for you. Go ahead, take some Bazooka Joe and get out of here, you rascals. Oh, those boys. What pickle will they find themselves in next? Stay tuned for next week's installment of Adventures of the White Privilege Boys.
Don't get excited. Here we go.
Glad to be back. Second hour. That was Sally Kohn. Oh, by the way, unveiling a new shirt.
Oh, ho, ho.
Let
What
me
is
show
this?
people watching the
What is
video.
this?
What do we got here? Look at this. Oh, I got
There you go.
Crowder the Barbarian, and see, you got red Sonya is not gay Jared there.
Are you smuggling some raisins over there?
I look like Jennifer Aniston in Friends with the rubber nipples.
Yeah, like every episode.
I think those were fake rubber nipples.
I think they did.
My wife
They had
said.
to touch it because Courtney Cox had them all the time too.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
quite often.
Disgusting. Horrible. You know what I found Phoebe the most attractive because she was funny?
Yeah, she was funnier.
She was way funnier. I know Courtney Cox. I like the character. I didn't find her funny. Jennifer Aniston.
I don't like her character.
I don't
Her
get
character,
it.
no, it drove me up a wall. Courtney Cox.
Yeah.
Just that.
Anyway, this is going to be in the not merchandise store when we go #NeverDaily. So stop asking. But what do we? We have a potential 4 or 5 T-shirts now, and
Yes.
this, which is a figment of your imagination. This mug
Doesn't
club.
exist.
So, Sally Kohn, I dig Sally Kohn. I like her. She can be funny. Some people were saying that, Steven, you kept saying this is important. I did. I repeated myself with that because it was important. I do appreciate the drinking games that people play.
You know what I appreciate about Sally is she seems like, unlike some of my even #SJW friends, she seems like she can maintain a relationship separate from her politics,
Sally
which is
Kohn
hardly
is very nice.
defined on the other side of the aisle.
It's true. And you know what? She's a genuinely kind person. She's a
Mm-hmm.
genuinely caring person. And that counts for something. I have people on the right who we know, people who've been on this show, people who are big name guests who are pricks. So we have Kristen Bell released this video. Was at HuffPo. We covered it in the website. I just think it's important. This is it is leftist feminism crystallized for you, and it's been making the rounds.
And it's hilarious.
It's hysterical. Women can be
Hilarious.
funny too. So let's roll a couple of these clips. It's of course centered around the pay gap. Roll clip.
Is your company looking to maximize their output while cutting back on costs? Why outsource all your production to faraway countries like India, China, and Narnia when we have the cheapest and best workforce right here in the good old US of A? Women.
Do you notice something there? Don't say it. The very beginning of her video is the only argument that's needed against the premise of the video. She doesn't understand. We've talked about that all the time, right?
That's the first thing I thought when I watched it. I'm like, does she not even
realize?
know?
If you believe the pay
doesn't
gap
know.
myth, do you not realize if a corporation could only spend 70 cents on every dollar in labor costs, they would never hire a man again? And here's something from the left too. So it completely debunks the entire premise of her video. And here's what's so funny about the left. Corporations are evil. Corporations trample on the little man. They outsource jobs. They'll do anything. They'll do anything. They'll destroy anybody. They'll end any lives. They'll destroy any households just to increase their profits by a single percentage point. Except for when it comes to hiring women, they forego 23% profit because they hate vaginas. Is it me? Am I the only one seeing this?
No.
Are we supposed to believe that greedy Goldman Sachs, greedy corporate fat cats, they're so hateful, they're complete and total sociopaths, all successful, wealthy business owners who've been vilified as the 1%, but they check that at the door because their priority, their greed is superseded by their hatred of women, that they're willing to forego 23%. 23% labor costs.
More if you just hire the black ones and the Indian ones.
If you just hire the black ones and the Indian ones.
Yep.
We have more clips. Roll some more.
That's
clips.
right. With pink sourcing, women are a bargain at the workplace since you only have to pay them 77 cents on the dollar.
Roll the next clip.
Also, you don't have to pay for women's birth control. And if they do get knocked up, when they leave to have the baby, you get off scot-free. But don't worry, guys. Your boner pills are still covered.
Also notice this is an entirely female cast, I'm assuming writing, and it's offensively unfunny. Nothing like perpetuating the original stereotype, broads.
I think they must have stolen the Trevor Noah writers for
our
an
birth
episode.
control isn't covered. Your birth control is covered, but your boner pills, it's one of the, well, it's entirely, again, refuted by her very next point. Let's roll that clip.
Best of all, you can promote literally anyone else besides them, especially if they're less qualified.
You're late for the 3 o'clock cuddle.
This is female writing for comedy. I mean, they could have hired somebody funny to do it. Do we have a clip about the, what's the next one? Is it the Tampax or the maternity leave?
We'll see.
Okay.
After all, women don't even really want to be working anyway. They'd rather be home, taking care of the family.
Yes! Yes, that's true! Exactly! Everything they say, it requires a borderline retarded person to make these statements with zero self-awareness. You can save money by hiring women for 70 cents on the dollar. Oh, that flies in the face of all economics. Oh, women want to be at home, right? Sarcasm? Of course, most women want to be at home. Women have wombs, and they make babies, and so they're biologically driven to. Yes! Yes, next clip.
That's all we had.
That's all that we had?
That was the end.
Ah, crap. Well, what did it talk about maternity leave? It talk about in there, maternity leave. If men or women were paid, you can bet that paternity leave would be paid. No. By the way, maternity leave is already a thing, okay? It already exists. Plenty of companies do it. More importantly, that's not equality. No men are out there demanding a year off with pay. Unless you're a cop who screwed up. You're not getting paid when you're on leave. That's not equality. You want special favors. She goes on to talk about a Tampax. But it's all made up for by free tampons in the bathroom, huh? You just bitched about how there's not free birth control. It is this is what's so wrong with this. Kristen Bell is putting herself forward as an ambassador of women with this video. This video portrays women as stupid, unfunny, and incapable of understanding basic economics. It is the worst.
You know, I was thinking about that because, their only argument, if people aren't greedy, if these corporate overlords aren't greedy, then they're just hiring men because maybe they're possibly more skilled at the job. But they can't actually go with that argument. You ever thought about that?
That's a good point.
That's one they can't roll with because that would entirely diminish their argument that women are just as capable as men.
It's like nowhere is it even factored into the equation that men might be better for that job. That's it. That's it.
Unless they go to the argument that maybe just the white man is holding them down from the proper training or education.
Come on now.
That's all.
That's where they would go. Come on. There are more women in college now. There are more grants and scholarships for breasts. There's more research that goes into breast cancer.
Boobs.
Nobody cares about wieners. Everyone wants to save boobs. Women want to save their boobs, and we want you to save your boobs. It's a lot easier to get people on board with women with female causes. As a matter of fact, I would love to do it either with Lauren Southern, maybe Tommy Loren, and just put out. You want to know where women enjoy privilege more than any social media?
Yeah.
Same exact tweet from a male account, female. She will get 50 times the interactions.
Speaking of female causes.
Gosh. That's the stuff that gives children nightmares.
Like those clowns.
He keeps showing me a picture of Lena Dunham. Lena Dunham, where she's obsessed with showing her body, this one. And it's always front page Salon, HuffPo. It's like liberals are like, hey, Lena Dunham, hey, can you show us your tits? We're kind of low on traffic. It's all the time. I think we can say that on air.
We were talking to my brother earlier, like, isn't it great? We have a podcast going up tonight where Lena Dunham has not done anything this week to comment on. Isn't that great? And then she interjected herself this morning with that.
What?
With that.
Well, it's just like Hillary Clinton. They're propping her up. They're propping this girl up. I mean, to prop her up, it has to be like, Xerxes coming in the temple with everyone carrying. I mean, Lena Dunham, let's be honest, that requires the people to do their deadlifts. They constantly try and push these women as strong women, and they're not. They're the weakest among us. Kristen Bell is a stupid person. She doesn't understand economics. She doesn't understand what the pay gap. And here's the deal: if you want to talk to young girls and you want to inspire them, why not put forward like a Christine Hoff Sommers, like a Carly Fiorina? Why not put somebody who understands the economy, who understands running a business, who actually employs people, someone who wasn't just born with great looks and mediocre acting ability, and that's how they made their bones. Carly Fiorina had to work for it. Someone like I don't know. I'm sure there's some female scientists. I was going to, this is the thing. I'm pretty quick. That's one of my. I'm able to think of things on my feet. I couldn't think of a woman who. They're all dead. Like Rosa Parks is who I'd toss forward, but you can't trot her out to inspire little girls. I don't know, but my point remains. But Jared made a good point there. It doesn't allow for the mere fact that sometimes men are better at the job, right? Again, this goes back to the ism. The ism, the pie chart. Think about the pie chart that we showed earlier. The ism of the worldview, the prism through which you see it. If it's just about, there's this out there and I'm only getting this much. A, it's not true. You're not getting 70 cents in the dollar. But again, if I found out that I was making 70 cents in the dollar for a female job, I would go, okay, well, why? What is it that they're adding that I'm not? Sometimes there's injustice. Not always. But the ism is, I need my piece of the pie because vagina. And that's how they see the world. This is why you do have to create your filter. You do have to have your moral compass. I know a lot of you who listen to libertarian atheists, I don't believe in isms. Well, you know what? It changes things when we have Andrew Klavan?
No, Hillary Clinton up next.
Had Hillary Clinton up next.
Just
Good
connected.
Lord.
Yeah, crazy.
And we're back. It's time again to play America's favorite game show, Spot the Real Firearm. Now the rules are simple. One of these firearms is real. The other is an accurate BB gun replica. Yeah, it looks like he's dead. Was the real one loaded? Hey, Jared, what are you doing?
Shooting bad guys.
With what?
By AR-15.
Where'd you get it?
AR-15.com.
Enunciate it more clearly so our audience can hear.
AR-15.com.
That's better. They sell guns now?
Yeah, they do.
Are they any good?
They're the best.
Where from?
AR-15.com. Kapoo. Kapoosh.
You really make that sound?
Didn't have the budget for sound effects. Kapoo. Kapow.
Oh, there's another one.
Kapow.
You got him! With what?
My AR-15.
From where?
AR-15.com.
Hey, how do you know they're bad guys?
Turbans and burkas. Kapoo!
That's racist! Here we go. I was doing a jig there.
Just a little jig.
Great to be back. Glad to be back. We have great guests. We have Andrew Klavan coming up next. But before that, right now, I think, do we, is Secretary Hillary Clinton on the line?
I think we got her.
Secretary Hillary Clinton, are you there? Secretary Clinton, are you with us? Oh, yeah.
Thanks for having me, Stephen. Really glad to be here.
Well, thanks for coming. How you feeling today?
Oh, I've never felt better. I feel great. Really ready to break through that glass ceiling, Stephen.
Well, good, because you had a pretty serious health scare this week that led a lot of people to start questioning.
Oh, you know,
current...
you know as well as I do that that's just a right-wing conspiracy from the bag of deplorables.
Basket.
I can tell you it's going to take a lot more than simple allergies to keep Hillary Rodham Clinton down.
I thought it was pneumonia. This week I thought it was pneumonia that you had.
It was pneumonia. It was totally pneumonia.
So you just misspoke.
Well, you know as well as I do, Stephen, that allergies typically leads to pneumonia.
No, I don't know that. I don't think anybody...
Or epilepsy or Parkinson's or the like.
Now, did you say Parkinson's? It sounded like you said Parkinson's quite a bit.
I thought we were here to talk about my policy, Stephen.
Oh, forgive me. What's your latest policy proposal?
An immediate increase in federal funding to find a cure for epilepsy and or Parkinson's.
See, now that just sounds suspect.
Well, maybe to a sexist, is that what you are, Stephen? Are you a sexist?
You just look different is all I'm saying.
Well, how so, Stephen?
For starters, the duct tape and stick moving your mouth.
Oh, this? Oh,
yeah.
You mean, no, this is the new look I'm bringing, Stephen. If you read People magazine, you know I'm very fashion forward. For example, I brought back pantsuits.
No, you didn't.
I was the first to wear the Kung Fu jacket, and I would argue I wore it better. And this is the new duct tape and tree twig look, Stephen. I'm pretty excited about it. It's going to catch on.
I'm not so sure about that. I don't think.
Oh, no, trust me. This is already all the rage on the runway in Prague, Stephen. It's just like other things. The United States is slower to catch on.
It seems like more of a necessity than a fashion statement.
Ventriloquist chic.
Okay. All right, Hillary, where's the best place for people to support you?
Yes, thanks, Stephen. People can support me at hillaryclinton.org.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump is literally Hitler.gov.
Okay,
or
no.
nepilepsynow.com. That last one's a big one, Stephen.
Yeah, I can imagine it is. Secretary Hillary Clinton, everybody. Thank you very much.
I feel great. Glad to be here.
Clearly. It was a big get. I wish we would have had more.
She doesn't look well at all.
I've seen her look better.
Yeah.
I've also seen myself look better. Tan is not my color. Cream, whatever you call it. Good thing we'll have another colored shirt. Well, you sound off on what you think. Tweet me at S. Crowder. Do you think she has the pneumonia, or do you think maybe a little bit something more with that head action
Could
going
be just
on?
a touch of AIDS.
Now, here's the thing that you know what people are going to say? Well, why is it okay for you to mock something that could be Parkinson's and not Donald Trump? Because I'm not running for president. That's it. I say horrible stuff, horrendous stuff, and people can criticize me for it. Hey. Yeah. Speaking of being critical, this is a big story this week. I didn't see a lot of people talking about this. Jared doesn't pay attention to the website. Did you hear about the Syrian refugees?
I heard vaguely things, facts.
The United
States
has accepted thus far, Andrew Klavan next, by the way, 10,801 Syrian refugees. Guess how many of those are Christian?
Oh, I did hear about this.
Yeah.
It's not a good number.
56. That's half of 1%. 10% of all Syrians are Christian. Means there's 2.2 million Christians in Syria. And we've only accepted, so again, if you're going to talk about actual numbers, about proportionality to the population, 10% of refugees are Christian. Less than 0.5 have been invited in this PR stunt to the United States. What does that tell you? Let me ask you something. Not only are 10% of Syrian refugees Christian, but considering what's going on with ISIS, considering what's going on in Syria, wouldn't it stand to reason that more of the actual refugees, considering that Christians are being burned alive and slaughtered and targeted first solely for being Christian, Your Honor, would it stand to reason that more of the refugees fleeing should be Christian? Is that outside the realm of reason? Am I off base?
No, the logic checks out, Stephen.
Yeah. When you talk, of course Muslims kill other Muslims in these countries, but you get priority access if you're a Christian there. If you're not facing Mecca 5 times a day, you're being put in the fast lane. That's the express checkout. 12 items or less because you've got a crucifix. For some reason, we're taking in refugees at a record number, people who are committing rape at record numbers. In Germany, they just found 1,500 child brides in refugee settlements. But in the United States, statistically, none of them are Christians.
Yeah, if you actually do the math, I'm doing it right here.
Yeah.
Carry the 4, add the 2%. Yeah, bull. I can't say the full word on
You
FCC.
can't say the full world.
No.
Word in the
world.
Word in the radio
just
world.
pulled the Hillary.
Someone stabbed me with a pen. Not a pen, just stab my eyes with a pen because I don't want to have to look at Jared's surprise Lena Dunham pictures. This is huge. This should tell you that, again, Democrats, as they go out there, they don't really care about the poor. Joe Biden doesn't give it. Hillary Clinton, they're not charitable people. There's a great book by Brooks, Who Really Cares? And it wasn't a conservative who said out, listen, conservatives give more, particularly Christian conservatives. They're more charitable. They put their money where their mouth is. Leftists don't. Same thing with they don't really want to help people. It's a PR stunt. They want to go out and talk about how progressive they are and no walls and look at all the refugees we're bringing in. Well, listen, I don't even understand the net gain here for them, except pandering to Muslims, except pandering to potential terrorists. I don't understand why leftists wouldn't want to put their best foot forward and say, oh, let's just bring in more Christians. They are the ones getting slaughtered. They are the ones being targeted first. And we're bringing in the people who follow the religion and the prophet who are doing the slaughtering. As a matter of fact, if anything, I bet you more Americans would be comfortable with Syrian refugees if we could vet them as Christians. Because we know they're actually fleeing people killing them. Doesn't mean that all Muslims are killing the Christians, but it's more of a guarantee that the Christians in Syria are likely not the ones doing the slaughtering. It's not for sure. It just puts it on that side of the ledger. My God. All right, Andrew Klavan coming up next. I don't know. He's half Jewish. Just stay.
Right, so this next guest is a provocateur, right? Where it's like, of course I said racist shit, but I didn't say racist shit. Right, that's what she does. So he's been trending again for another racist rant on Facebook. Thanks for coming over here.
Trending? I wasn't trending for any rant recently.
Oh, okay, that's that shit debate tactic where but I didn't trend for anything on Facebook, and it's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Yeah, you blonde-haired, blue-eyed, Hitler Youth-looking fuck.
Hitler Youth? I'm not keeping up with this, guys.
That's because
Really?
she's half Jewish.
Jewish? Since when am I Jewish?
Bitch. Who does your mustache?
Did you just say mustache?
Oh, so now she wants to have a reasonable discussion, right? She's working for the Blades, and she wants to have have a reasonable discussion. It's bullshit. That's bullshit!
I don't work for the Blaze.
Okay, right? See, this is why we never have people who disagree with us, because they're not even being honest! That's bullshit!
Don't even deny it!
If you can't go, that be bullshit! Get the fuck off the phone!
She's denying it!
Who told you I work for the Blaze?
Oh my God! You're still denying it! Did a rooster crow? You denied it.
He doesn't even want to be honest.
You blind
I'm
with the rebel.
There you go, guys.
I know, it's like,
Right?
what? You're so observant,
If you're not even
Chink.
gonna be honest, I mean, right?
I agree with you, Chink.
There you go,
Always.
guys. Tommy Loren, everybody.
My
If you want to
name's
have a
not
reasonable
Tommy.
discussion, direct message me. I'll give you my phone number. We can talk about it over drinks.
Again, my name is not Tommy. I'm Lauren Southern, and I'm not direct messaging you.
Think about it, right?
Okay, whatever. This is done. But drinks sound fun. Can I come?
Wake up, the rabbit explode.
Reach the wizard.
Explode. Wake up, the rabbit
Of
course, that is Pogo. One of our favorite artists has provided us with all kinds of great music.
Indeed.
For Louder with Crowder. Gosh, what have I had? I don't know what's happening. Someone stabbed me with a pen. My mouth isn't working today. I'm ashamed of myself. But I'm glad to have our next guest. He's been on the show quite a bit. You know him. You love him. He has a new book out, and we'll talk about it as well, called The Great Good Thing, A Secular Jew Comes to Faith in Christ. Oh, geez. That's going to cause some triggering. You can follow him on Twitter, at Andrew Klavan. Senor Klavan, thank you.
Dude, it's good to see you.
I thought you were holding a pipe there. That's your glasses.
It's just my glasses. No, but I will set them on fire if you like.
Yes, well, you'll probably want to if Not Gay Jared brings up another image of Lena Dunham.
Oh, dear Lord.
Unprovoked.
I can't handle it again.
My Twitter feed has gone. I didn't see the image of Lena Dunham. Thankfully, that's why I'm not blind. But
yes.
All I've been hearing about it sounds like it was horrific.
Well, first, we want to talk about Hillary Clinton because I know that you know a lot about her, and I know that you've had Parkinson's and/or epilepsy in the past. But your book is
10 minutes. Yeah.
Yes. So your book is out here, and we've talked about this. A lot of people obviously still send you the anti-Semitic remarks, but not a lot of Jews lose one to the other team. So this is pretty big, and you could make some enemies. Why did you write
the gays
this?
that way?
Yeah, it's
They're
very
like the
similar
gays.
like the gays.
Well, it's not only going from being Jewish to being Christian, it's going from being a secular Jew, a Jew who didn't believe in anything and was raised in an atmosphere of disbelief and worked. I mean, I've spent all my life working in Hollywood and in New York publishing, where a mention of Jesus would die of loneliness, where it just was not, the thought didn't exist. And so the reason I thought my story was kind of interesting was I think a lot of us, just about all of us, are living in that culture. We're living in a culture that basically believes that people are meat puppets, that have no souls. We talk about having an adrenaline rush as if we were some kind of chemistry set. And I just thought, I thought this through for 35 years. And I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. And I came to the conclusion that image of human beings doesn't make any sense, whereas the Christian image of people does make sense. And that's why I wrote it. I thought if you follow my journey, maybe you'll see a way out of where you're stuck yourself.
Well, that provides a little more context as opposed to a practicing Jew becoming a Christian. But you know what? That's the same story for anyone who's actually a Christian. Everyone has to make the decision at some point. That's one thing. Like, were you born Christian? Well, no, you're not. Your parents might be Christian, but by definition, you can't be born a Christian. It's a decision you have to make. But this is proof positive of what I've talked about a lot, Andrew. I have a lot of atheists who listen to the show, a lot of atheists who come on the show, and this idea that you're in an atheist club and you get intellectual points right away the second you come out of the closet,
That's right.
and everyone else has gotten it wrong. Listen, there are people who could probably eat your lunch in a theological debate, and me too, obviously. However, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who says, yeah, Andrew Klavan's a dummy. You're a smart guy who still believes, but generationally, young people just go, oh, they write someone off if you're no longer one of the new atheists.
Well, yeah, and that's the way I felt when I was half educated. It was as I became more educated that actually that stuff started to collapse. And that's what it is. It depends on you to accept certain assumptions of a semi-educated elite, the journalists, the guys who write the op-eds, the guys who make fun of you on TV, the actors and all this stuff who make fun of religious people on TV. It just is basically saying to you, this is the cool crowd. We're the smart guys. And the problem is, they're not that cool, and they're definitely not that smart.
Well, some of them are very smart, but a lot of them aren't. And it is this sort of blanket, I'm an atheist, and people go, well, he must be a critical thinker right away, right? Because many of these kids are raised in youth group or whatever, and they're going against the grain. And I've noticed that a lot. I've even talked with Sargon about that. I go, you give a lot of other atheists a pass simply because they claim to be an atheist. And you see them using straw man all the time. You see them being intellectually disingenuous. But because they claim the atheist mantle, you give them the okay.
And once you start to read their books and you really start to pick apart their arguments, even the smartest of them do not have good arguments. Their arguments simply don't hold together. And I've followed them, virtually all of them. I've read almost all of them at this point, and their arguments don't hold together. Even Christopher Hitchens, a brilliant, brilliant writer, whenever he would talk about his atheism, suddenly began to spout nonsense. And it just was stuff that didn't make sense. Oh, some Christians are mean, so there's no God. And you think, like, really? That's the level of intellectual debate we're having?
Well, I think he had some better arguments, but I understand what you're saying, and
certainly his debates with Dinesh D'Souza were great, very entertaining to watch, and very much the polar opposite of Dinesh's debate with Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks. He even talked about how Hitchens and him used to be friends. I'm like, this is a new breed, man. People are no longer respectful and hear ideas; they just crap on you, which you'll probably get for that. So where can people find the book?
Because they've lost the debate. That's why.
Yes, exactly. Where's it? Can people get it on Amazon?
Yep, get it on Amazon. You can pre-order it now, and it's out next week.
Oh, what's happening?
I'm sorry. 1 second. Sorry.
Jared, bro, let's go grab a beer.
I would love to, but
Let's do it. I'll swing by now.
How about not Thursday?
How about now? How about yes now?
No.
Come
Dean,
on, dude.
hang up. Dean, hang up. Hang up.
Right. No, you hang up.
Sorry.
Superman, he loves you.
I told him again. I told him
he's a good guy, Andrew. He needs to
why
learn.
I love him, but why does he have a problem with Thursdays?
I don't know why he does. I'm sorry, Andrew. Hey, we'll go. I want to ask first. I want to clarify. Now that we're at the point in the primaries, you were not on board with Trump. But I don't think you were ever #Never Trump. Are you at the point?
Never Trump.
So are you going to vote for Donald Trump now between him and Hillary?
It sure is looking that way. I mean, my problem with the Never Trumpers is not what they say about Donald Trump. I don't like the guy very much. I have a lot of big problems with him.
Sure.
My problem is they say, like P.J. O'Rourke said it best. He said, Hillary Clinton is bad, but she's bad within normal parameters. And I don't agree with that.
No.
I think if that's normal parameters, normal has moved way down the line.
Yes.
I mean, I think Hillary Clinton is really bad. I think she's corrupt. I think she's dishonest down to her, almost by rote. She's almost lies without thinking about it, like a convict or something,
Right.
And I think her history is a history of abuse and greed, as Colin Powell said the other day, greed and nastiness. And I just think that, with Donald Trump, I think there is a vanishingly small chance that he will do a good job or a good job with something.
Right.
With Hillary Clinton, I just don't see it.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that about Donald Trump. And Hillary Clinton doesn't even stand to gain sometimes. I'm certain. You're like, well, we'll talk about that with Anthony. Anthony Cumia has made that point. Like, why would you lie about it? Why would you just say you have pneumonia?
Yeah.
Why? Why lie about this? Like that's why it's a story, because you stand nothing to gain by saying, hey, is Hillary Clinton sick? Nah, she's all right. Why?
Why is she lying down like that on the pavement? Well, she's resting. She's a little tired.
Yes, she's a little tired before they send her off to live on a farm and you never see her again. Did you? Okay, I know the conspiracies are going by. You've got to be. That looks like more than pneumonia, doesn't it?
Well, that one thing could be pneumonia, and I have no proof of anything. And the other thing is, if you were a doctor, what you would be saying is, gee, I don't know, I didn't examine her, right? That's what
right.
I would do. But gee, it's been going on so long. She's been coughing for months. This is not just something that happened right away. One thing I think that it could be that I don't hear people mention is could be emphysema. Like she could have a slow lung disease that's going to kill her eventually. That is making her weak and making her prone to things like pneumonia.
Well, was she a smoker?
You know what it may be? It may just be that when you sell your soul, your body collapses inward on the emptiness.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Was she a smoker?
No, I think it's just the fire of hell.
I was going to say that. Oh, you stole my thunder. We were thinking. I feel good about it, though, because that means I was tracking with Andrew Klavan on a joke.
Yes.
I think you spent that. I was going to say Gates of Hell, more descriptive, and he's the writer here. No, it is one of those situations. We didn't write about it at all, like we talked about until this week, and I'm going, oh, right, this is real. This is something that you can verify. This is clearly happening, and they lied about it. So it would have been catnip for clicks, for web traffic. We know that, just peddling in conspiracies. But this is something genuine, and the fact that they lied about it, it could just be that's force of habit, but it seems a little more sinister.
And buried in those Colin Powell emails that got hacked, buried in there was a reference to her being unable to climb a few steps to reach a stage. Do you remember? Did you happen to notice that? He talked about somebody saying that she has been really, and this was a long time ago, it was like over a year ago, talked about her being unable to reach the steps, something's wrong with her.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of stuff going on. It's kind of like, where they say where there's smoke, there's fire. That's not always true, but there's an awful lot of smoke.
I mean, I would just attribute the step thing that she waddles around like Kim Jong-un in a little kung fu jacket. I can't imagine she's very mobile. It's kind of like when you have an old. I know people are going to say, well, yeah, like an older dog who has the bad hips, and you kind of got to get him moving in the morning.
It's not any one thing. I mean, I've been coughing up green stuff for a year, so that's. I mean, you can take any of one things, but it's the accumulation of all that does make it a little.
Let her guess. Say what she was going to say. Not get Jared. Go ahead.
I'm worried that the thing is becoming like Psycho, where she's actually like just stuffed in the attic. You know, we're going to walk by the White House. We're going to hear like, "Mother, no, you know, Norman, stop! You veto that bill, Norman. Mother blood." You know, it's a very strange experience. So,
well, listen,
I don't know. There's something definitely looks wrong with it.
If that's the case, I mean, at least obviously, Bill hasn't been doing it. Someone's stuffing her, so she's got something going for her at this point. Come on.
That's worse than the Lena Dunham imagery.
You know, encouraged that Colin Powell said that Bill was still sleeping with bimbos. At least he's healthy enough to be president.
Yes, exactly. Well, don't you know your boner pills are covered, apparently, according to Kristen Bell, as opposed to birth control. Here is something you just touched on. The Colin Powell emails. Everyone talked about it, and the whole story was he coached her on how to hide things in a private email server. No, what you just talked about is very important, where he said that she couldn't get and everything she touched, she ruined, I think, due to hubris, something like that. Everything she mentioned hubris, but basically saying she is immensely unsuccessful. She's grating. He doesn't like her. He talked about her health. He talked about telling her not to do specifically what she did with her email server, and specifically not to lie about it. He did some things that were, less than savory, but it's like everyone just glossed over the stuff that is damning on Hillary.
Oh, the networks hardly covered it. They went right to the Trump stuff. He called Trump an idiot and all this stuff. The thing that's so irritating about the Clintons in general is that our memory is so short that we forget that they've been doing this for decades now. Like when Hillary was senator, she was taking money from Corning Glass to get them deals with the Chinese. When she took that money from the Russian plutonium company, and as Secretary of State allowed them to buy 20% of our uranium supply in Canada. I mean, she has been taking money for political favors for a long time. And, I hate to bring it up, but those are our favors. She was a servant of us, the people, and she was selling them for private cash. And that's a no-no to me.
Yeah, it's kind of, some would say a disqualifier at some point, but like you said, when you change the parameters of normal, I mean, you're talking about the Clintons. House of Cards has basically been created around them, and people just forget about that. It's like they are the villains that created one of the most successful shows in modern history. It is so. You're probably going to surprise a lot of people by saying you're likely going to vote for Trump. A lot of people are going to say that Jew is never going to vote Trump. You'll get that in your timeline.
Well, I've made no secret of my feelings about the guy. I think he is a bad dude. I've basically lost this election already. I mean, there's nobody who's going to get elected who's going to cut back the government. Nobody's going to get elected who's going to make me more free, let the country less in debt, more safe. None of that's going to happen. It's just not happening. So the question is, how do we get through the next 4 years with as little damage as possible? And I think there is, some people disagree with this. I think there is a chance that Trump will make a good Supreme Court appointment. That would be major. That would be a big deal. And I think that increasing the security on the border is important. I think, I think there's some good things that I think he could do.
I think there are a lot of good things that he can do, and I would think it's likely that he appoint someone better to the Supreme Court. Not only a possibility, I would say likely, if only because he's beholden to some level of honesty. Even though I don't necessarily know how we can talk, I don't think he's particularly dishonest. I think he's thoughtless sometimes. It's just words come out, and he has to walk them back. I don't picture him as sinister or premeditated as Hillary Clinton. Andrew Klavan, at Andrew Klavan, and we'll talk with him more after this break. It's a break. I forgot we have a break.
Do the Hillary! Do the Hillary! Throw your head from side to side, then we collapse, you and me. Do the Hillary! Shake your hands like you got Parkinson's. Nothing to see here, just blame the allergies. Do the Hillary! Do the Hillary! Do the Hillary! Do the Hillary! Throw your head from side to side, then we collapse, you and me. Do the Hillary! Do the Hillary!
When it's time to party, we will party hard.
We're back. At Andrew Klavan. He is there. Pardon us for that horrible break and dancing, Andrew.
Oof, that was bad.
It was.
But I like all the funny gestures, you know.
Yes. Well, listen. It's a big part of the program. This is indicative of the quality that people have come to know and love.
I've come to expect from you.
Yes, of Louder with Creditor. I do recommend people go out. The new book, one more plug for it, The Great Good Thing: A Secular Jew Comes to Faith in Christ, because it's actually one of the few books you're more of a fiction writer that conservatives or sort of, I guess even just social conservatives would want to read.
It's my first nonfiction book, and it was really difficult to switch and tell your own personal story. But I'm really happy with the way it came out, and everyone who's read it so far has been incredibly nice about it. So I think people will like it.
Oh gosh, look what he's doing to Trump. Listen, everyone else loves it.
Everyone loves it.
Frankly.
The polls are incredible, and it's beating Hillary Clinton's book already.
Well, you've got. I will. Truthfully, okay, honestly, here's the thing. I will say this. I get a little bit of a ooh when the polls tie, and I see Hillary Clinton. I see her doing poorly, even though I've been critical of Trump, and I think people should. What we've tried to do is honestly be critical of Trump when fair and support him when right. But I'd be lying if I said I don't get a tingle down my leg when Hillary is doing poorly.
I'm with you too, and the best thing about a Trump election is the people whose heads will explode. And I actually want to be there, like in the New York Times editorial offices, when people just go like, and just watch like Scanners. Remember Scanners, where the guys' heads just blow up? I think just watching that would be worth the entire price.
I'm trying to remember Scanners. Did you ever see Scanners, Not Gay Jared?
No.
It's and heads explode. Heads explode.
Well,
and
listen,
it will be much like that, I think.
Yes, I think, especially in Los Angeles. Bill Burr has talked about that. We have some questions from the Twitter, Andrew, for you. Someone said, what about Andrew's thoughts on Gary the Libertarian? I love how he has to say Gary the Libertarian.
Well, I mean, first of all, I think the guy's not going to win, so he doesn't matter as a realistic possibility. But, every time, I don't know what it is with libertarians. I consider myself basically a libertarian. I don't care what anybody else does in their personal lives or anything. All these guys can talk about is pot. I mean, you talk to Gary Johnson. You talk to Gary Johnson, you talk to him about, he doesn't know where Aleppo is. It's like, Aleppo, do they make pot there? It's like, you talk to him about whatever you talk to. But the minute you hit the subject of dope, he'll go for 20 minutes and he doesn't stop. And you go like, okay, I get it. Dope should be legal. Fine. I'm fine with that. But stop.
And it's not even just where's Aleppo. It's where's Aleppo?
Yeah, I love my favorite part about that. We ran this last week. Where is Aleppo? They go, are you serious? Aleppo. It's one of the most pivotal cities in Syria. He goes, got it. Like the got it was clearly like, stop it. Stop letting this go any further down the embarrassment trail.
What's gulp Aleppo?
But if you ask him what Aleppo Red is, he knows. He's like, what's Aleppo? Oh yeah, Aleppo Red. I love that stuff.
It's a strain, man. Yeah, it is very bizarre that they make it their single pivotal issue. We've talked about that for me, even with libertarians. But what's funny about is a lot of these libertarians who are potheads now, all of a sudden they've abandoned it for Trump because it's this trend, and they don't care at all that he's going to be probably the worst president on pot. If you look at what he talked, they loved the hackers, and Donald Trump is going to jail Snowden. I'm not saying he's necessarily wrong. I'm saying the people who would have been libertarian have abandoned it for a trend. But the pot thing, even my position is, listen, if you want to smoke pot, fine. States should have the right to vote and let people smoke pot. I think a lot of states probably will. But just don't lie and say that it's medicine or big pharma is colluding to get... No, there's 7 patents right now on marijuana drugs. There's only one that works for chemo patients for appetite. They don't want it as medicine. They want to get high. My thing is just say, hey, the jury's still out. There probably isn't a lot of benefit. Could be bad for some people, but it's my right. I want to get high. If they said that and states legalize it, I have no problem with it. Even that is upsetting to libertarians.
But fine, but did he miss the news story where the Islamists are trying to wipe us off the face of the earth? I mean, did he miss the news story like where we're $400 trillion in debt? It's like, great, it legalized pot, leave me alone. But that's not the only issue that's up in this election. It's like he's never read anything else except like, the latest, where you can score good stuff.
Yeah, well, I think, he was probably taking bong hits while they were talking about Aleppo. I feel like actually he's just, all of a sudden they're reading about Syria and Gary turns... What? Don't you notice? Isn't it funny how all the libertarians who run for office are like, well, this is the thing. This is my life's work. But I've never smoked pot. Oh, come on.
Not Gary, man. He's like, no, I've been off it for 7 weeks. I really gave it up. It's like,
yeah. We're gonna get letters.
I just think he's not a serious guy.
No, I don't think he's a serious candidate, and I think a lot of libertarians. Austin Peterson, we actually had on the show quite a bit. Probably wasn't a super serious candidate, but was actually able to formulate a thought, was certainly more consistent. My problem was open borders with him. He was an open borders guy, and he was making the case, which I understand, he was making the case that a lot of libertarian economists made. However, that was in a time where it wasn't entirely a welfare state, right? People coming here for jobs is very different from people flocking here for free stuff.
That's right. That's right. And they used to go back. I mean, it used to be they would come in seasonally and go back, and that was kind of a system, and it worked fine. But now they come in and they stay. And you know what? It doesn't make any sense anyway. You can't have a country without borders. How would you even find it on a map? You know, I mean, that's what a country is. A country is a place surrounded with lines. You know, it's a piece of ground surrounded with lines that other people can't come into. That is what a country is.
Except for a lot of Canada. It's mostly just honor system.
They have this natural defense. Nobody wants to go. That's it.
Yeah, it really is. When I used to go through the border all the time, oh my gosh, it was so embarrassing. We would go through, so we're all American. My mom is French-Canadian. She immigrated to the United States. We'd go through the border in Champlain. We'd go to Plattsburgh, New York. Plattsburgh, this podunk town with nothing there. But we were in Canada, so they had Taco Bell. So we would go for the weekend. And the joke they would always say is, first, I remember just being like, okay, here's a security checkpoint, and then nothing but empty land with zero protection. And my dad would say, yep, here are 3 citizens and 1 alien. And my mom would go, beep, beep, like the alien one. Because she's French-Canadian. I was like, Mom. Anyway, sorry, this conversation took a weird turn. But it was a perfect opportunity for that story. Andrew Klavan, your book title, We Have to Go. What is it?
The Great Good Thing, a secular Jew comes to faith in Christ.
We have 30 seconds, right? Not Jared? What's your stance on bagels, real quick, before we go? You still
bagels, pro? Love them. They're good for Jews. They're good for the Christians. They're good for everything.
I think it's just overrated bread in a circular shape. It's cookie cutter bread.
You're a sinner.
All right, Andrew Klavan, we love him. You got him, and we'll have him back soon at Andrew Klavan. Stay tuned because we have Bob Ross, right?
Bob Ross.
Bob Ross coming up next,
Bob
drawing
Ross.
Hillary Clinton. And now for the adventures of the white privilege boy. Did you see the look on Mr. MacArthur's face?
Yeah, he didn't know what hit him.
That was awesome. Oh, darn it, there's Officer Jenkins.
Oh, no, what do we do?
I know. Let's run into that alleyway.
Oh, shoot, it's a dead end.
Oh, darn it.
Now, boys, have you 3 been up to no good?
I don't know what you're talking about, Officer Jenkins.
Well, I've been getting some phone calls. Does Mr. MacArthur ring a bell?
All right, guys, run. I got this. I still have my BB gun.
Oh, Timmy, I'm disappointed. You know you're not supposed to aim a loaded firearm at an officer.
Yeah? What are you going to do about it, Officer Jenkins?
I tell you what I'm going to do to you, Timmy. First, you're going to put the loaded firearm down. I'm going to have to call your mother. But first, we'll go grab an ice cream cone and talk about it. What do you say?
Okay. Can I ride in the front of the paddy wagon?
Oh, Timmy. Usually that's not allowed, but since you're white...
Oh, those boys! What pickle will they find themselves in next? Stay tuned for next week's installment of Adventures of the White Privilege Boys. All right, I am glad to be back. We're in the 3rd hour. We're going to have Anthony Cumia. Anthony Cumia. Coming up next after well, we have oh no, sorry, we don't have him next, right? Do we?
Yeah, coming up next after
Oh,
this
that's right. Gosh, we're almost through this show.
It's going crazy.
All right, so you know
fast.
what? Right now, people loved it. We had not long ago, Bob Ross taught us how to draw Muhammad, and
lucky enough to get him back.
We're lucky enough to get him back. We were very fortunate. We have Bob Ross here this evening teaching you how to draw Hillary Clinton. Enjoy. Welcome back to the joy of painting. I'm Bob Ross. The beauty of painting is you can paint whatever you like. We can paint a landscape or a portrait or Even this week, let's go with something topical, something in the news. Secretary Hillary Rodham Clinton has been in the news a lot. Let's do that. For that, you're going to need your paintbrush, some colors. You can use whatever you like. I suggest liquid whites, mucus green, some slate colors, and lots of more liquid whites, lots of liquid whites in the Hillary Clinton campaign. Let's get started and draw the secretary here. Let's paint the secretary herself. Little blonde there for her hair. Not too blonde. Not too blonde because it's not real blonde. That you can add whatever you want. Let's continue drawing the face. Narrow shoulders and wide birthing hips. Beautiful wide birthing hips with narrow shoulders. Perfect for carrying little Chelsea. Perfect for carrying little Clintons there. See how it's coming together very nicely? Oh, that's a beautiful Hillary Clinton. Now, she's had some health scares recently, the secretary. Let's draw a little bit of, she's coughing here. Let's draw her coughing up some mucus. That's the mucus green I told you. Let's have some green there. Oh, beautiful color. It's unfortunate sometimes it's associated with sickness. It's a beautiful color in its own right. And then she's been coughing pretty badly. Let's draw a little lung. That Hillary Clinton, the secretary, expelled in her coughs right there. And you see how that's coming together? She looks a little lonely. Let's give her some trees. Little happy trees there. Little happy trees. They don't have to be complex. Little happy trees. But you know what? She needs more than trees. This is topical. We can do something different. Let's give her some bodies. Let's just draw some little bodies. The Clinton body count right there. Let's draw a little body. Oh, there's a Vince Foster. Look at that. She just beat the devil out of him. Little bodies to keep Hillary company. Now, let's go back to Hillary herself. Since we're filling this in, she's had some health scares. Let's draw some shake lines here. Her hands and head were shaking from some kind of disease. Could be Parkinson's. Could be cancer. Epilepsy. You can pick whatever disease you like. That's the beauty of painting. AIDS. Could be whatever disease you want to draw for Hillary Clinton. Could be all of them. She could have every disease under the sun. You know what? Let's draw a sun. Let's draw a sun. Let's draw a sun up here. Nice, warm, yellow sun saying hello to the secretary. Beating down because it was hot in New York. Let's draw that hot, warm sun beating down on Hillary, making her sick, creating a sweltering, bone-dry 74 degrees. Look at that. That's coming together nicely, see? No doubt as to who that is. We have to finish this up here. With her sickness, she needs some help. She needs some friends. Let's draw her security detail. Coming in, right there, her security detail. Now you can make them whatever color you want. They could be brown or black. But let's be honest, they're most likely white. Let's draw them white. Most of her security detail is going to be liquid whites. There you go. It's not her fault. People have different upbringings. Some people are afraid of colored folk. They can be intimidating. Liquid whites. Her security detail. Now, to finish this, they're stabbing her with a diazepam pen. Stopping the violent convulsions with a diazepam pen. Right there. Let's paint that. Stabbing the secretary with a diazepam pen so she can feel all better. Feeling all better. Look at that. Painting doesn't have to be complicated. Look at the beautiful picture we did. And that was a good warm-up with just her body double. When we come back, we'll paint the real thing. Happy painting, and God bless you, my friends.
I almost fall asleep when I listen to Bob Ross.
It's inspiring.
It's
always
soothing.
inspires me.
Love
Soothes.
Bob Ross. He knows how to find the silver lining in everything.
Except for this.
God.
Yeah, nothing silver.
Stop it.
Or even lines.
I can't. The reason you're hearing me right now off mic is because I can't even look at my monitor. Not Gay Jared has made my monitor an unsafe space with the pictures of Lena Dunham. Is it off?
It's off.
Okay.
It's off.
All right, it's off there. Now I know I'm gonna. I'll be texting you some pictures.
It's
of
back.
clown.
It's back, and then it's off.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right. Next time it's pictures of clowns for you.
Clowns.
Not Gay Jared is deathly afraid of clowns. Tweet him at Not Gay Jared, the creepiest clown pictures you can possibly find.
You kept me up all night last week.
With the clown pictures.
With the clown picture text.
It's going to happen this week because my wife has been gone since Monday. She comes back Monday. She's a working gal, and as a matter of fact, she may be, there's a lot going on in the Crowder household right now, #NeverDaily, because there's a lot going on in the works, even though we're never going daily, #NeverDaily, so stop tweeting it and asking us. She's been gone, and I will tell you this. Sweetheart, miss you if you're watching this. It's tough for me when my wife is gone. Not only because I want to mount everything. Jared, careful.
This is why I carry.
This is why he carries.
And the clowns.
And that's barely a joke, by the way. But it's one of those things people go, oh, you're trying to suck up to your wife when I'm on air. I really do try and be sincere with people listening. I think that's one of the good qualities of the show is Not Gay Jared and I are genuine people. You do get a glimpse into our lives. Now, we keep some things private, naturally. But I genuinely don't relate to people who can't stand their wives. What kind of a moron are you to marry someone who you think is an idiot you have to go home to every night? I genuinely like being with my wife. When she's gone, I miss her. I don't do well. And this is one thing that I think is important because people say, well, why do you, a lot of people get mad because you're a social conservative. It doesn't mean I'm pushing it on you. It means, listen, this is what's improved my life. I've always been an advocate for marriage. I think it's a great thing. I think a man who finds a good wife finds something that is good, great even. And I didn't do well as a single person. I'll talk with people that are like, oh, the wife's out. You gonna party? No. And that's not real life. That's in the movies. Not everyone is Alfie. Okay, it ends up being the 69% wrap up burritos with some beer and Netflix. I've never been a good bachelor, and I say this because I get a lot of emails from young men. They feel as though that's the norm. And it's somehow abnormal if they feel lonely. Like, you're a bachelor. Because so many people who are married, right, if you watch the shows, they just wish they could go back to when they were single. I am so much happier married. I can't even tell you. It wasn't really something that was that scary to me. I am that way with children. So maybe send me an email or tweet me at @SCrowder. With children, it still scares the daylights out of me. But I'm way happier. I was living in Manhattan in my own apartment in the Upper East Side, was doing pretty well financially, alone. If ever a bachelor would have been thrilled, it would have been that scenario. I couldn't stand it. And being married is a lot. It's more fun because I have someone nearby who's my closest friend, my confidant, someone who cares about me, and also cooks. Sex and sandwiches are a big plus. I will say this, having experienced both, I don't relate to the guys who, oh man, I miss being single. I tell you what, when you're married, it's all over. For me, it's been the exact opposite. Being married has opened up so many opportunities. It really has been the greatest, probably the greatest blessing to my life ever. I know people say it at home, but the best day, and you think they have to say it because their wife is eavesdropping. Oh, the best day of my life was when I got married. We have to say that. And I don't even know that the best day of my life was when I got married, but it certainly made my life a whole lot better. So she's been gone, and that makes it tough, which means I'm going to be sending you pictures of naked clowns, most likely.
Yeah,
Clown pornography.
Some could say it's tougher for me then.
Yes, some could say that it's tougher for Not Gay Jared. But don't feel abnormal, guys out there. Don't feel normal because you have this wife-shaped hole in your heart and you want to fill it. You've been made to feel as though you need to sow your wild oats, and you're not a real man if you're looking to settle down. It's not true. For some people, love going to the bar every night and popping the pills to avoid the venereal diseases, and that's their thing, and that's fine. That's their thing. But it's not even necessarily the norm, and you don't need to feel as though you're beta or you somehow need to score with more chicks, or that if you're not enjoying your single life, that's the reason why. It's not the case. I will tell you. In my life, being married has been a whole lot better. So I got a few emails about that where people talk about marriage, and especially because recently Hillary was on the show, and people don't realize a lot of times they don't realize that young kids have pressure on them, and it's not in the way that they would think.
Yeah.
A lot of young men get that pressure.
Yeah, I think the movies and it's Hollywood just kind of portrays all that in such a weird light that it kind of distorts and perverts how things should be.
It's never the fun guy in the films.
No. It's always the guy with the annoying kids and the bitchy wife, and they come into the house for Christmas, and it's just a nightmare.
And then
it's Krampus.
Yes, this is a terrible motion picture. We were talking about that. And then at the end, they tied in like, well, actually, it's nice. The family's fulfilled, and they have some tender moment. But they just had to toss it in to justify all the crap they tossed on the nuclear family. So maybe it helps somebody, maybe it doesn't. We'll be back with Anthony Cumia. Anthony Cumia. Stay tuned.
Okay, so this next guest, right, he's a professional troll. Like, I said racist but aren't I funny? But it's not very funny. He claims he's gay, so, of course I'm gay, so I get a pass, right? And it says racist shit. Milo Yiannopoulos.
Yeah, I'm not Nero. I'm Gavin McInnes. I had to dye my hair for a movie role. I was, playing the role of a young man in a movie, so I tried to take off the beard and the mustache to de-age myself. Didn't work out great. I'm not trying to say I'm handsome, but I had to dye my hair for a movie
Then
role.
why are you even here, you formerly bearded, blonde-haired hipster Like, seriously!
I had to bleach this for a movie role. What's your excuse with your mustache? Jesus Christ, you don't think we can see all that fuzz? You look like Wilford Brimley in drag.
You chauvinist Canadian I don't have to take this!
It's funny you say Canadian because hosers say after every single sentence. Like, how's it going, And you say more than hosers. It's sounding like an affectation. It sounded like someone told you to be edgy by using and it's become your new like.
No.
You're like,
No, I say so that's how people know I'm in deep.
What? Why don't you guys talk about real issues like the Armenian genocide? That's what we want to hear about. The injustices of the Turks over the years, especially the young Turks. Why don't you do a whole special during Armenian History Month about all the horrible things? Do Armenians have a month? Because you guys could fill it up with your horrible young Turkish crimes.
Okay, right? It's so predictable. Of course he's going to bring up the Armenian genocide. So, the Armenian genocide, therefore you're wrong. And you! Fuck you, Gavin McInnes! We'll try to have a reasonable discussion!
Stop it. That's embarrassing, not good, Jared. You're
That's my
embarrassing.
bad.
This next guest, who actually, Nick DiPaolo, last time he was on, said he is a comedy savant. You can follow all of his work at compoundmedia.com. They have Gavin McInnes, all kinds of programs. They're really blowing it up. Anthony Cumia, thanks for being with us, sir.
Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure. I enjoy your show, and of course your tweets are hilarious.
Depends.
I like it.
Depends on the day, and depends on whether I support David Duke or not, as I learned this week.
Yes. Have you disavowed? Have you disavowed yet?
Well, not only that, even when I was like, listen, David Duke's kind of a dirtbag, and it was a setup question. Why is this hard? And people are like, how dare you disrespect Dr. David Duke? I'm like, he's a doctor now?
Doctor?
Dr.
I didn't know that.
David Duke. So there's no winning. There's no winning with it.
No.
No. Well, okay. So speaking of which, this is, I mean, obviously you with your show being more comedy centric, the Hillary health stuff, that just, it must be like catnip for your show.
The longer this whole process goes on, we've been about a little over a year in with this whole campaign. It's been insane. And just when you think it can't get crazier, it gets crazier. And Hillary just, collapsing. I had a moment of silence the other day at the exact minute that Hillary collapsed at ground zero. We took a little time out. Something
was
like
it a
that
piping
happened.
74 degrees where you were?
Yes. Oh, it was just balmy. I have a Hillary heat index. When it's 76 and breezy, the Hillary heat index is 115.
What happens when it's 84? You kill a guy?
Yeah, yeah, there's quite the trail of bodies around her. No, it's gotten ridiculous, and the way they try to spin it, and the media not even attempting anymore, not even attempting to come off unbiased. They are in her corner firmly, not denying it anymore, and they're unapologetic. It's pathetic, and still Trump prevails. It's amazing.
Well, if I had a nickel for every phone update I've gotten with from CNN saying Hillary's okay, she said so herself, like
good.
all day Monday, like every few hours.
She had a V8.
Updates.
She had a V8. She's hydrated now. It is
splash for extra refreshment.
And I mean, well, who knew the Clinton body count would actually include a Clinton at this point? We've gone that far around the bend.
She can't trust herself.
I wonder if she has the same plot as Vince Foster. Here's the deal: when we were like, we didn't cover it when it was a conspiracy. We were going like, okay, there might be something, but we do understand it's clickbait for a lot of these sites, right? Like we ran the one story this week because it was legitimate and it was 4 or 5 times the traffic. So we have to try and be truthful, but here's the deal. They lied about this, even if it's pneumonia. They said she was fine Friday. So is it possible she has pneumonia? Yeah, that stands to reason. Is it possible they lied because it's all they know how to do? Yes.
There are so many people that if they came out on that Friday, and said, hey, our candidate here has pneumonia, everybody would go, oh, okay. There would be maybe one nut going, really? Is it pneumonia? But for the most part, you'd believe it.
Right.
With Hillary and that whole organization over there, you cannot believe anything that comes out of her corner. You just can't do it. And when they said pneumonia, I immediately called BS on it because it just sounds like another lie to cover up something that's going on over there.
Have you ever had pneumonia?
I have not, but I made fun of Hillary's cough about a week and a half ago. Overnight, I got a horrible cough. My throat is up. She's a witch. I believe she conjures.
She's got a doll with Cumia. She's sticking pins in his...
Yeah, pins in it and like phlegm down. She's coughing in my doll face.
Yes.
I don't know.
I've had bronchitis. And it's not pneumonia, but it's relatively similar. Either way, I've known people with pneumonia, and they've never done this. They've never done that action.
No.
Like, that's not typical.
My dad had pneumonia. My dad had, like, really bad pneumonia once. That was never a part of the routine.
He never did this?
That was never part of the routine. No.
Yeah, that whole video of her teetering over while the Secret Service were eagerly awaiting the arrival of the vehicle. You see her legs just being dragged along the ground, and they're just, she seems to have lost her footing on the way to the van, or she was a little weak-kneed. No, she was out.
Sometimes you trip getting on the broomstick. It happens.
And the way you were right, the way they were carrying her into the vehicle, it was like how they carried Steve McQueen back into the prison in
Papillon, was it?
No, I'm trying. What was the movie? I just forgot it. The
Great Escape.
Yeah, The Great Escape, when they're carrying him back in with his rubber ball and his legs are dragging. I couldn't believe it. I was sitting there, I'm like, and like Jared talked about, not Kid Jared, you mentioned this. It just looked like another day at the office for the city. That's what's so disturbing. They were just like, this is happening. Well, let's.
It was well choreographed. It looked like they had drilled for it in the past. No one was shocked or surprised. They're just like, my job is to hide any cameras from fainting Hillary over there. It's like one of those goats that just teeter over.
Well, you just compare it to the Ryan Lochte scenario when Dancing with the Stars, where a guy gets on set and it's an event, right? They tackle him, there's this energy, and you've got the potential president of the United States doing this, and it's just, it's a Saturday down at ground zero. So that's not how they react typically. But you're right. It's listen, I have tried to support Trump where he's right and criticize him when fair, and there is a lot to criticize. I mean, you're a New York guy, but I've heard you talk about something. You're like, God, you can't believe Trump says some stuff. I think everyone feels that way about him.
Sure. Yeah, he's a little kooky.
yeah, and sometimes with her everything is premeditated and dishonest. With him, it stems from thoughtlessness. Blah, sometimes, but the comparison, like you said, I mean, today we have the DNC leaks. And then right away, either something comes out with the Trump Foundation or something is, we got to break DNC leaks, where they're promising positions with the post office if they donate enough to the party. I mean, have you been following this?
Absolutely. They cannot throw enough distractions out to the people to try to keep them from reading. As a matter of fact, what's her name? The temporary head of the DNC? that was put in.
Is it not Warren? Is it Warren? Wasserman Schultz? I've confused it.
No,
Wasserman Schultz is
Wasserman's the
out.
one they threw out, and then they brought the other woman in. She said today, she said, I would not recommend reading any of the WikiLeaks emails because they may be full of malware. So steer clear of those. It's these Hail Mary attempts at trying to keep people from finding out what a bunch of degenerates there are.
Don't read Hillary's tax proposal. It's a pop-up for gay porn. Just avoid it and pull the lever. We'll be right back with Anthony Cumia of CompoundMedia.com. It's not going to get better if that's what you're expecting. Stay tuned.
Hey you, watching the live stream. Don't forget to tweet us, @UsCrowder and @98Jared. It's good times. Oh, and subscribe below.
Yeah, and you can also go to LaurenWithCrowder.com where you have all kinds of articles and more stuff than you see here.
Hey, why are you brushing your teeth in the shower?
I saved time. I read it in GQ.
Never thought about that. I guess it does.
All right, glad to be back. That outro was my mother-in-law, and apparently we found a way around the YouTube copyright.
Mm-hmm.
She was the fox, which she looks like Sally Field. She's the sweetest lady.
Yeah.
She was the fox in a leopard print leotard.
Never would have known.
I just get too comfortable with myself when I look
crazy.
at that record album. We have him back, CompoundMedia.com. Anthony Cumia, I'm sorry you had to sit through that.
That's okay. You got some moves there, my friend.
Well, it's a big selling point for the program.
I bet it is.
We were talking about the DNC leaks. Yeah, it is amazing. This is one thing that you don't need to be a political pundit or talking head to understand that the DNC and leftism right now, they always want fewer voices. They always want less transparency. I mean, when have you ever heard them say, well, let's just let the chips fall where they may and give the public as much information as possible? It's not a part of their platform.
No, the transparency thing really means nothing anymore. When the Obama administration first came in, their whole thing was, oh, we are going to be the most transparent administration ever. And Hillary is constantly crowing about transparency. And it's transparent like a cinder block wall. There's no seeing anything. And they lie about it. I've known people my whole life that you don't even have to lie. And they do anyway. You ever talk to somebody and go, hey, you ever see that movie? And then they go, yeah. And
Right.
you start talking about it and you realize they never saw the movie.
Right.
And you're like, why didn't you just say you didn't see it?
Yeah.
That's how Hillary is. Everything has to be a lie that comes out of her and her camp.
Right. Well, and like the hot sauce. Well, technically, Obama hired the first tranny, right? Wasn't it? What was the cabinet role? Remember that was a big deal?
Yeah, I forget.
Yes.
Everyone was praising it. And I was
which
like,
one it was.
all right. I remember even I was on Red Eye and they were like, well, this is bold. And I was like, really? I mean, who cares? And I think the person turned out to be crazy, right? Wasn't there a lie later on? Am I?
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, the
Yes.
person turns out to be crazy. That's what. Why are we so hung up on firsts? Like, oh, we had the first black president, and now like every subsequent president ever now from now on has to be a first of something. We need the next president to be the first woman president,
Right.
the first Hispanic president. Can we just please get back and make people comfortable with just some dumb old white guy in there?
Right, yes, that's the takeaway from that. Or like first, it's only when it's convenient. Like, oh, it's the first black president. It's also the first president to smoke crack with a terrorist. Well, we don't need to talk about that. What are you singling him out because he's black? Oh my God, you did. He also smoked crack because he's black. No, because he smoked crack. It is tough. It is tough right now. Let me ask you this. So kind of pivoting, you were talking about the media.
Yeah.
Now, I know you're friends with a lot of these people, so we have to be careful. And we've talked about this with Nick DiPaolo. But I do feel like now it's never been more blatant where you see the comedy sphere, the entertainment industry, but a lot of stand-up comedians, they are just doing the bidding for the Democratic Party. That's got to tick you off as someone who's been a part of it for so long.
I've never understood why the entertainment business has this fascination with the left And this time around with Hillary, and they're promoting her and trying to get her elected. I don't get it. They're the worst when it comes to actual freedom of speech, which I believe freedom of expression, freedom of speech is a big part of entertainment, and especially comedy. Like, they are trying to take the comedic context out of everything and make it seem like whether you're a comedian or a surgeon or a judge, it all goes into the same category. You made a joke about this horrible thing. And it doesn't matter. They don't look at it as comedic context.
Right.
Everyone is Hitler, or this one misogynistic, you're a homophobe. There's a context to entertainment, and there's a freedom of expression that we're supposed to have that the left just wants eliminated. And I don't understand how people in the entertainment business want to embrace that. It's ridiculous.
Well, particularly like female comedians. I mean, I know you know, obviously Schumer is the biggest name, and you've worked with her, and Sarah Silverman. And last time we had, we talked about this. I'm sure they're still your friends, but it has gotten so grindingly annoying that most people I know who are fans, like, I can't take it anymore. Everything is talking about rape culture, or you heard Amy Schumer's thing this week, right, where she talked about Hillary. She said anyone who says anything bad about her, they're not informed. No one has any reason other than she's a woman to not like her.
Yeah, she said she never heard anybody say a bad thing about Hillary that made any sense.
Yeah.
And that's the left, though. They look at you, they'll say things like, oh, what, the Benghazi thing? And it's like, you can't just, yes, the Benghazi.
Yes.
Oh, what? Oh, the email thing? Yes, the email thing. They say it like, just because they're saying it like that,
right?
That you're stupid, we know everything.
You're just hung up on stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, hung up on stupid stuff. That's it.
We have this guy, a good example, on he's with Young Turks. He's called me out, and I'm like, okay, God. I'll debate you. He's like, oh, I'm not going to debate a guy who thinks that he thinks Hitler was a socialist. It's in the name, Nazi, National Socialist Party. It's in the name, but they say it like it's absurd, and people are like, "Oh, what a retard! He thinks Nazis were socialists." Yes, yes. Well, just because you say it like it's silly, yeah.
National Socialist.
Well, they're like, well, it's more nationalist. Like, it's one of we had Sally Kohn on this week, and God bless her. She's really a nice person. She'll have the discussion, but she kept talking about ISIS, or she kept saying right wing.
Right wing.
I was like, what is right wing about zero freedom? And like, come on.
Isn't the right about less government in your life? And there it is, tyranny. And they try to put it on the right. And alt-right has been a big thing with Hillary and the rest of the lefties over there. They're trying to portray, like the basket of deplorables.
Right.
They're trying to portray so many people in that light, blaming Trump and Trump followers for the people that follow them.
Right.
Like, you can't possibly blame Trump because there are some pretty far-right people that want him to be president.
Right.
Just as you can't blame Hillary for having a terrorist's dad cheering behind her at one of her rallies. It just
that is
can't
funny.
be done.
It is funny. You just want to have that in a GIF on a loop, like a morphine trip. It's like, that's a stand up there clapping. Yeah, that's a terrorist dad right there.
Yeah.
It is awful. It is though. I do think, particularly from the entertainment standpoint, you're seeing a lot of rebound now.
Yeah.
And we talked with Nick about this, and he disagreed. I think a lot of people who established themselves in comedy a longer time ago, they still have this sort of puritanical view of it. The comedy club scene, the college, anywhere in traditional stand-up comedy now, there really is a barrier to entry, and that's why I think you're seeing a lot of people just go online. It's changing where they're going. The entertainment industry is not welcoming to anyone outside of this narrow point of view. Have you felt that shift?
Oh my God, I was in it before it really started being exposed for what it is. I mean, I got fired from SiriusXM for tweeting about me being assaulted in Times Square.
By black people.
I was assaulted. I tweeted about it, and I got fired.
Yeah.
And to me, I was just like, okay, it's just gotten way out of hand if that's what's happened. And then in the 2 years, or a little over 2 years that happened, people started catching on, going, oh, this is what's going on. And I'm like, yes! Finally, you're seeing what happened.
Right.
There is a pushback, and because I'm kind of in that circle of people, I see it. They're disgusted, and they are going about it themselves now, just like I've had to do here.
Right.
Build my own studio. I don't have a boss that could fire me anymore.
Right.
It's because they're petrified of being thrown with one of those scarlet letters.
Yeah.
What are you, an R racist, a homophobe, a misogynistic? They're petrified of getting that label, so they will appease anybody that complains to them that one of their employees is a whatever initial they want to throw on them.
Well, there's a real witch hunt, though, in comedy that there didn't used to be, where it's like, this person's a Republican, but now it's like, you can't be in this, you're not allowed to be a part of this if you don't think like we. That's a big difference, whether it's, college humor or the Funny or Die, even in the online sphere, it is a witch hunt. Like, if there's a successful, just non-liberal, not even conservative person anywhere, we have to all hands on deck assault. And I've seen a lot of people behind the scenes who are you and I know, way more conservative than they'll let on, but they're like, I can't wade into it.
They can't. There are so many people in Hollywood. There's those select few that have literally destroyed their career by coming out and saying, hey, I'm a conservative. Hey, I'm for Trump. And then there's a bunch of other ones that just are closeted, like the old communist days. You don't want to be blacklisted out of the business, so they have to present themselves as liberals. And I think there's a huge portion that are not. They don't have to be conservative, but they certainly aren't looking at Hillary as the next messiah, like we see Streisand or Bette Midler or any of the other favorites of the gays come out and say.
They're kind of interchangeable in mine. It's kind of like Snowden and Assange. Bette Midler and Streisand, like, which one did that one? Which one was funny, girl?
What? Which one lives in a gated house that says what we should be doing? What?
Well, that's a good example. So, like, I go back to it, but because Amy Schumer in your state pushed gun control with Unky Chuck, here's one thing to me. I think that's a very important litmus test, because if you are a comedian right now pushing the envelope in any way, you have to be a Second Amendment supporter. I mean, and I know the kind of threats you get, and I don't mean online drama, but dealing with the FBI, you carry. I can't imagine it. Now, it tells me you're not taking any risks as a comedian. It doesn't matter how much blue material you do, but you're not really pissing anyone off who'd be a risk if you're willing to ban guns.
Well, as far as Amy Schumer goes and her Uncle Chucky, when an entertainer has an opinion and they state their opinion, that's one thing. I'm not going to go off on, oh, wow, this person thinks this. Like, I like Patton Oswalt.
Sure.
We are worlds apart politically, and I get enraged at some of the stuff I read that he posts on Twitter. But I'm friends with him, and I think he's very funny.
I feel like he's a conservative in a right winger in a lot of ways who doesn't realize it. When you sit there, like Larry David.
There's something going on there. There's something going on there. But he's got opinions, and that's one thing. When Amy started sidling up with Chuck and actually moving to limit guns to people, citizens, that becomes something different. And I cannot go along with something like that. No. So I have definitely said, like, I do not appreciate the fact that Amy is trying to get people's constitutional rights taken away. That's more than an opinion.
Whoever it is. And it removes you from it. If ever you see that person in a film, or you're like, that's all you're thinking about,
Right.
And you can't have it. Well, the worst part is Lena Dunham. I mean, I find Amy Schumer funny, but like, you've got Lena Dunham is just a talentless amoeba, and I'm like, Amy, why are you? What is, like, if there was ever more clearly a Robin to a Batman, it's Lena Dunham to shoot. So I get Dunham cozying up to Taylor Swift and Schumer. I don't understand it the other way around. I don't get it. Does she hang out at the same nightclubs as you guys or something?
I don't get it either. Yeah, you don't want to be the girl that the guys at the bar at the end of the night, they have to look and be the wingman and be like, I got to go out with her.
Maybe that's why they're hanging out with her, to make themselves look better. Like,
maybe to make themselves
everyone
look
needs
a
an
little,
ugly friend.
Better. Well, and that's this whole liberal, politically correct, that's a side effect of that whole thing. When she takes her clothes off and everybody's like, you go, girl, you're so brave and beautiful, no body shaming, no that. And then an attractive girl poses in scantily clad. They're like, oh, disgusting. She's just making herself a piece of meat out there for. And every guy is going, no, we want to see that one.
Yeah, I know.
I don't care how brave you are. We want to see that girl.
And the irony is they are condemning the one thing that knows no racial boundaries, it knows no economic class. The male erection is a veritable beauty weather stick. I've said that. Like, it doesn't care what color you are, how much money you have. And I'm like, that's just sexist. It's not.
It really is the most fair organ of them all.
If only we could just have a bunch of John Thomases as judges in this country.
Yeah.
Justice would be blind. Anthony Cumia, Compound Media, thank you so much, sir, for being with us. And we'll have to have you back soon.
Thank you. Absolutely, man. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. And that was, well, we'll be back. We'll be back.
For breaking news on Louder with Crowder, I'm Perry Matheson. We're taking you now live as Hillary Clinton has restarted her campaign and stopped in Missouri at its longest-running, most famous local ice cream shop. Truly a picture of health. We'll keep you abreast as the story unfolds. For Louder with Crowder, I'm Perry Matheson.
Caught my breath there.
I will never let you go, Jack.
Until I'm slightly inconvenient, then you
Yeah, a little bit convenient.
crunchily
Kind of.
crack by into the shark pit.
Kind of.
Shark pit, Shark Tank.
Cramp on my iceberg
what
style.
a horrible film.
It was.
As far
It
as
was
like, the love
classic
story,
and it was
just
good.
kid-
I don't know.
Just
It was bad. It was good. I don't know what to make
there
of it
wasn't
anymore.
even any reason to toss him into the ocean when he was frozen to the raft. He wasn't going anywhere.
All I know is little 5-year-old Jared in the theater during the booby scene.
In the movie scene,
Yeah, it was
the
one of these.
steam in the car. The problem is with that, I forever knew Kate Winslet as the booby lady.
You know, I was convinced as a kid that she must have been wearing her big old rubber suit. As a kid, I was so naive to
She
think
would never go naked.
She would never go naked. That's a really convincing rubber suit.
Let it never be spoken that you were an intelligent child.
No.
Anthony Cumia, was great to have him. Of course, everyone listening terrestrially or if you're watching on YouTube, you can subscribe on iTunes. All of the Young Turks videos that you've seen in the commercial breaks, by the way, they're hidden across YouTube right now. So we did an interview with Gavin, Lauren Southern, Sargon of Akkad, and one with yours truly. And there might be some more. Real quick, I have this up on my screen. Harvard scientists were paid, it turned out, to push the fat is bad myth by conflict of interest with those making money off of sugar. So the sugar industry paid prestigious Harvard scientists to publish research saying that fat, particularly saturated fat, was the key to heart disease. Turns out that in moderate amounts it's fine, and sugar is actually a lot worse for you than they let on. Here's the
Damn you, big sugar.
Here's the thing. People will right away say big sugar. What's really important is this was only able to get through and be so pervasive because of the environmental lobby, also synonymous back then with the vegetarian, the vegan lobby, who were very, very adamantly against any animal product saturated fat. So they were all too happy and complicit to be on board with, oh, okay, let's vilify saturated fat and switch us to hydrogenated vegetable oils. So all that stuff that you don't like, the hydrogenated oils at McDonald's, well, they used to use tallow. They used to use beef lard. And vegetarians, environmentalists were mad about that, and so there was collusion here. Here's the point. Whenever people say, well, it's settled science, and they show you a bunch of government-funded studies, I'm not saying that science is flawed. Science isn't, but the execution can be. People are flawed. So this idea that science is the end game if there's some kind of consensus from government employees, whether it's saturated fat, which we know to be false, whether it's this idea that a 1 degree increase over the next century will destroy mankind on Earth as we know it, so we need to sign the Kyoto Protocol and give over trillions of dollars to international governing bodies. The execution of science can absolutely be tainted. It can absolutely be perverted. And that brings us back to this idea. What's the takeaway? We were talking about this, the truth. You don't have to go to the extreme for it to matter. We were talking with Sally Kohn about Islam.
Mm-hmm.
We don't just have to talk about ISIS burning
Extended
people
version of
By the way,
interview.
it's an extended debate online, louderwithcrowder.com, Friday morning, whenever you're listening to this. Burning Christians alive in cages is terrible, absolutely. ISIS is terrible. But guess what? In Turkey, in Egypt, in the UAE, where women are required several witnesses to rape, otherwise they're jailed. Where women aren't allowed to drive without their husbands saying so. Where death for apostates is very common in the Islamic world. That's enough. You don't need ISIS. Islam is enough. Islam is bad enough. The same thing with Hillary Clinton. We were talking about this. Hillary Clinton. They lied about the pneumonia. They lied about the health issues. That's enough. You don't need her to have AIDS or Parkinson's. You don't need her to have a body double. They lied. That's enough. And sometimes the truth is far more potent than a lie. It's far more effective than a lie. And that comes back to your worldview. We're talking about that with economics. Does your worldview allow for the value, the principle that, hey, you know what? Regardless of all of this, yeah, that would create some more clicks. Yeah, that would create some more web traffic. Yeah, body double would be a more sweet story to have, right? It'd be more juicy. But does the truth matter? And the beauty is that right now with the arguments that we're making, the truth is enough. The truth is convincing
If
enough.
you're not desensitizing people to the truth by spewing all these things.
Just like rape culture.
Mm-hmm.
Rape is really bad. It's bad enough. 1 in 3 women, 1 in 4 women are not raped. If it's 1 in 10, if it's 1 in 20, if it's 1 in 40, which is far more likely, depending on the references you use, that's bad enough. That's bad enough. You don't need to lie about it. And so what happens, like Jared said, which was a good point, you desensitize people to rape. You desensitize people to Islam. The only reason Islam is able to come in as a Trojan horse through the back door right now is because you have leftists going, well, not all Muslims are burning people alive. No, but the vast majority of Muslims do support apostasy laws or some sort of grossly violating of human rights, Sharia law. That's enough. Well, Hillary Clinton doesn't have Parkinson's, so I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's enough that she lied about the pneumonia, that they lied to the press for a long time. With the email situation, that's another one. People going, oh, did Hillary Clinton, what did she send? She didn't send anything that was a real national security threat. Even if so, it doesn't matter. It's enough that she broke the law. It's enough that she knowingly went against protocol. It's enough that she lied under oath. But when people try to go with something bigger and build it into something that it's not and use the conspiracy theory, again, that matters with the worldview, the values, the principles, where you say, you know what, I'm not going to do that because my safeguard is truth, but there's the added benefit that truth is enough.
You don't have to Michael Bay the truth.
You don't have to Michael Bay the truth.
Bigger, better, more explosions. More city destruction.
One would argue that Pearl Harbor in and of itself was a fascinating enough story. I didn't need Josh Hartnett's nipples. They weren't required. Sometimes the truth is enough. And you see this a lot on the right and the left. But I'm particularly disappointed to see it on the right, where people just take something that's untrue and run with it because it's a better story. Or they know it's a trend that they can tap into. Listen, you should tap into trends. You should be relevant. That's all great. But the truth does matter. And we've talked about why the truth matters, and that should be first and foremost. But the beauty is here. In the long run, truth is more effective. The truth, as it relates to most of the issues now, whether it's immigration, whether it's terrorism, whether it's Hillary Clinton, the truth is more effective than the lie. And in the long term, your credibility won't suffer. Truth is better than the lie. Talk to you next week. Maybe. Never daily.